Good morning, everybody. My name is Don Daniel, founder of P.I.L.L Method International, a better way to eliminate debt. And this Friday, we will be live in Orlando. I mean, in person. I'll be in person in Orlando. We're going to give you some information about tickets later. We have some last minute tickets still left. But the whole thing is that they do not include lunch. So all the tickets that include having lunch with the speakers are all gone. I am so sorry, but you'll still be able to get lunch at the restaurant at the hotel. All right, so let's go ahead and get started today. Today, we're going to be talking about the 3 worst pieces of advice ever from Mr. Dave Ramsey. And we're going to have him a video of his where he's talking about me and the P.I.L.L method. So we're going to start with what he's talking about. So if you want, now he has millions upon millions of followers, and people are taking that advice. And I'm not saying it hasn't ever worked. I'm saying, I am not even saying his advice doesn't work, because it does. It's just bad advice in these days, okay? So I'm going to be talking about it. We're going to be talking about whether you should put 20% down on a mortgage to avoid PMI. We're going to talk about that. We're going to be talking about 15-year mortgages. And we're also going to be talking about whether you should have 3 to 6 months cash stored up for an emergency fund. So if you want to find out if all of these things that Mr. Ramsey teaches are the things you need to be doing, I'm going to tell you one thing. You need to see the numbers. And today, we will show you the numbers that proves this is just bad advice. So you want to be here today. All right, let's get started. All right, this is the P.I.L.L Method Show. And today, this is our 12th installment in getting ready for Orlando. So this is going to be the last one, okay? This is our 12th installment getting ready for Orlando. We will be in Orlando this Friday, and I'm going to put that on the screen so that you'll be able, I'm going to put a banner on the screen so you can still get tickets, okay? So let me find that banner. We're going to put it on there. Go to popclive.com, popclive.com, and you can still get tickets for this Friday. But let's jump into this show today. You want to know, listen, if you've heard that you should have 20% down to avoid PMI, what you don't see on these other shows, you don't get it from Susie Orman, you don't get it from Mr. Dave Ramsey. They don't show you the numbers on the show. They don't show it to you. I'm going to show you why. 2 things. We're going to start out with 2 things. Number 1, 20% down to avoid PMI. Okay. And I've got a $400,000 mortgage on here right now. You know what? Some people might think that that's a little too aggressive, Don, even though the $400,000 mortgage is the median home price across the U.S. right now. Okay. So let's start with a $200,000 mortgage. And I'm going to show you a couple of things. Okay. So he says 20% down to avoid PMI, and you should get a 15-year mortgage. If you can't afford a 15-year mortgage, he says, you can't afford the house. Okay. And you don't want it to be more than what, it's about 35% of your income that you want to devote to housing. No more than that, because now it's taking too much of your money. So let me show you some things, two things. Never, ever, ever put 20% down on a mortgage. Don't do it. All right. So let me change this banner here. I'm going to change this banner so it actually looks like I'm supposed to be here today. Okay. So I have a $400,000 mortgage on. If you want to see these numbers, go to YouTube right now. Don't forget to subscribe. And I'm going to put the little subscribe thing on. Don't forget to subscribe. All right. So Ken, let me invite you up. All right. And anybody else that wants to come to the stage here in Clubhouse, make sure you come up today, because you may have some questions. We're going to go against some of the most beloved information in finance today, but it is also the worst. Two things: never put 20% down, because you don't need to. All right. And never, ever get a 15-year mortgage. I can't think of a good reason to get a 15-year mortgage. We're going to be spending quite a bit of time there today. So let me change this up. Okay. So we're going to duplicate this tab. We're just going to start with $200,000. Okay. $200,000 at 7%. We have 180 payments. Okay. That's a 15-year mortgage. All right. And we're going to do a $200,000 mortgage at 360 months. That's a 30-year mortgage. Now, that's what I believe. I believe in 30-year mortgages. And in fact, if you can get a 40-year mortgage, you should do that. So we have a 30-year, mortgage, and we have a 15-year mortgage, 1797 and 1330. All right. So first of all, when it comes to 15-year mortgages, you don't need permission to have a 15-year mortgage. Even if you didn't know anything about Dave Ramsey, if you didn't know anything about Don Daniel and the P.I.L.L method, you don't need permission to get a 15-year mortgage. Why don't you just do this? Because see, listen, this is easy. I do this with a website created by Brett Wissel, BRETWHISSEL. All right. And you can come up at any time and interrupt me at any time to ask questions. So raise your hand, come up to the stage. I need as many people as I can get on the stage right now. I see Pam, I see Lisa, I see Sophia, I see Patrick, Lydia, Faith, Chaz, Joe. I need more people on the stage, even if you're just going to sit there and learn today. Why? Because when you come to the stage, more people see you and they come in as well. I need as many people in here as possible. If you're watching us online, get everybody in here. Send this link out to everyone you know. I mean, right now, because this information is being taught right now to everyone, and it needs to stop. It absolutely needs to stop. Okay. Right now, I have a $200,000 mortgage for 30 years online right now. And I'm going to show you why you should never get a 15-year mortgage. And when you see it, it will knock your socks off. First of all, Here's the payment on a 30-year mortgage for $200,000 is $1,330.60. Let me show you what the 15-year mortgage, it's $1,797.66. It's not that much more. Not that much more. Okay. $1,797, almost $1,800 versus $1,330, about $500 difference. Okay. About $500 a month difference. Okay. So if you can get any calculator, I use Brett Whistle, but you can go and get any calculator you want and figure out what the 15-year payment would be. Isn't that true? Yes or no? Can you believe that? You can figure out what the 15-year payment would be. Now, get this. If you have a 30-year mortgage, can you figure out what the 15-year payment actually is? And if you wanted to, could you make the 15-year payment with your 30-year mortgage? Yes, you can. Please don't put the extra stress on yourself getting a 15-year mortgage. Did you realize that most people who have the P.I.L.L method pay off their mortgages in 7 to 9 years anyway? Why get a 15-year mortgage and pay it off in 15 years when you can get a 30-year mortgage and pay it off in 7? All right. You need to know what's going on. If you want to control how much interest you pay or how much interest you can save, because right now, everyone who is not approaching their amortization schedule correctly, you're losing money. How many mortgages are in here right now? How many mortgages are in here right now? Okay. You're losing money if you're not learning how to read an amortization schedule, and no one is teaching it. Not Susie Orman, not Dave Ramsey. No one is teaching how to read this thing. But once you learn how to read it, you'll know that the best way to control a mortgage is to control the principal payment. If you control the principal payment, you control the loan. Let me show you something here. On a 30-year mortgage at 7%, here's the payment, $1,330. Let me show you the first interest payment. Okay, the first interest payment is $1,166.67. That's on a 30-year mortgage. Okay, let me show you the first interest payment on a 15-year mortgage. Here it is. $1,166.67. It is exactly the same. What? Wait a minute here. Wait a minute. There's a 30, 1166.67. Here is the 15, 1166.67. That's the exact same. Well, maybe the reason why there's a difference, if there's no difference here, is because maybe it's later on when you've been in the loan for 1 year, it makes a difference. Okay, let me show you how much interest you pay in 1 year on this loan if you just make every single payment on time. All right, if you go to cumulative interest, If you want to see these numbers, go to YouTube, go to Facebook, watch this right now. And everybody who's watching this online, I need you to comment on this. I need your help today to get this information out because it's time out for this. Do you see here? Look at that. In 1 year, the amount of interest that's paid on this loan is $13,935.65. Now, this is crucial. When you see how much interest you're paying each and every month, it's right around, you start out at $1166.67 on line 1, and on line 12, it's at $1155.84. Okay, so every month you pay a little less interest, but it's not that much less. But it adds up. All the interest payments for a 30-year mortgage add up to $13,935. On a 15-year mortgage, what? $13,752.30. why is Dave telling everybody to get a 15-year mortgage when the amount of interest that you pay in the first year is about the same? Well, maybe it's different after 2 years, 24 payments. Let's take a look at that. Let's go back to the 30-year mortgage. Let's prove that that's what we have. Okay, let's get rid of this advertising. All right, here's a 30-year mortgage, 1330. And look here, after 2 years, it's $27,724. That's how much interest you would pay if you made every single payment on time. On a 15-year mortgage, $26,939. Not that much difference. Let me tell you the major difference between a 15-year mortgage and a 30-year mortgage right after I show you a 10-year mortgage. That's 120 payments. Okay, 120 payments. We're going to put one more on. Going to duplicate the tab. And now we're going to put the same thing on. Okay, 200,000, 7%. And we're going to change it to 120 payments. Take this payment amount out and put it in, put a new payment in, $2,322.17. Okay, let's get rid of the advertising because it looks kind of crazy. All right, get rid of that. Okay, let's take a look at the interest for the first year, 13.5. What? And for 2 years, $26,000. All right, we got some folks on the stage this morning. I see Ken here. I see Lydia. I see Rhonda. Lydia, how are you doing this morning? And if you want to speak, go ahead and just click that button. Lydia.
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. Thank you.
All right. All right. Do you have a question about or comment on this idea of getting a 15-year mortgage or putting 20% down on a loan?
No, not at this time. I don't.
Okay. And listen, you need to, if you can't see the numbers right now, you need to watch this later because it's crazy. But thank you for being here this morning. We appreciate you. Miss Rhonda, how are you doing this morning?
Hey, hi, Dave. How are you?
I'm doing fine. I'm doing fine. What are you up to this morning?
Driving home from work.
Okay. Okay. So listen, I'm going to be talking about today about 20-year mortgages and 15-year mortgages. I'm showing the difference and why people should never put 20% down, why people should never get a 15-year mortgage. Have you ever heard that before? Never get a 15-year mortgage?
Only from
you. All right. So let's go over it. Thank you very much, Rhonda, for being here. I appreciate you as well. All right, folks, take a page out of Ken's notebook, out of Rhonda's and out of Lydia's. And if you're in Clubhouse right now, come to the stage. I need you to ask questions around this today. You need to fully understand what's going on here. All right. So now this is a 10-year mortgage. Okay. After 2 years, the amount of principal, the amount of interest that's paid is $26,000. On a 15-year mortgage, the amount is $26,900. And on a 30-year mortgage is $27,724. So not that much difference. What is the big difference between a 30-year mortgage, a 15-year mortgage, and a 10-year mortgage? I will show you. Look at this. It's the principal payment. The very first principal payment on the 30-year mortgage is $175.78. Okay, I'm sorry. I take that back. It's $163.93. But the first interest payment is $1,166.67. Now let's take a look at the 15-year mortgage. The very first principal payment, let me get rid of this advertising here. On the very first principal payment is $630.99, but the interest payment is exactly the same. Let me show you the principal payment on the 10-year mortgage and what the interest payment is. Principal payment is $1,239.03. I'm sorry, I have the wrong one again. 1,155.50, and the interest payment is exactly the same. Why is this important to know? Because if you're trying to prepay this, if you're trying to get out of debt in 7 years instead of 30, or even instead of 10, or instead of 15, get a 30-year mortgage because you have more control over what's going on. Let me show you. Since the interest payment is the same on all three, and for the first 10 years, I'm sorry, for the first year, for the first 2 years, the amount of interest that you're supposed to pay is virtually the same. How do you get rid of interest? Here's what you need to remember. When it comes to paying interest, the key is to cut out as much as you possibly can. If all of your debt was 0% interest, is there any benefit to paying off the house early? Is there any financial benefit to paying off the house early, paying off the credit card early, paying anything off early if all of your interest rates are 0%? Is there any financial benefit? The answer is no. So what is going on with our student loans, our credit cards, our mortgages, our car loans? What's going on there that keeps us in debt so long? It is the cost of borrowing the money. It's the cost, ladies and gentlemen. It's the interest cost, not the interest rate. So how do we manage interest cost? By paying the bank when you choose to pay. When you give money to the bank when they're not expecting it, then it saves you interest. Now, the whole idea is to pay as few times as possible, not pay 360 times, but let's just say we can pay 84 times, pay 84 monthly payments. That's 7 years worth of payments. Okay. 360 monthly payments. That's 30 years. So how do you best attack this loan? You attack it with the principal payment. Now look at this. Let's go back to the 30-year loan. Okay. We go back to the 30-year loan and look at the principal payment. It's only $163.93. So if you're trying to make every single mortgage payment for 30 years, this is a bad deal because only a small amount goes to principal. But if you're trying to prepay, if you're trying to only pay 84 payments, if you're trying to get out of debt cheaper, then you want a small principal payment. Here's why. And I'm just going to give you just a couple of examples here. If you start out making this payment here and you take a look at the payment on number 2, line 2, the principal payment is only $164.89. If you prepay that, do you realize you're paid down to line 2 on your amortization schedule? And look at this. You eliminate $1,165.71 in interest you never have to pay. But it only takes $164.89 prepaid, meaning when you make your very first mortgage payment, if you give them that second principal payment anytime in that same month, you take 1 month off of your amortization schedule, okay? And you take off 1 full month of interest that you never need to pay. Okay, watch this. What happens when we go to a 15-year mortgage? Look at this. My very first principal payment is $630, but the interest payment is the same. When I prepay, now I have to prepay $634.67 to get rid of 1 line on my amortization schedule. and the interest on line 2, which is 1162.99. You tell me, ladies and gentlemen, you tell me, why is Dave Ramsey telling you to get a 15-year mortgage when to eliminate payments, he makes it a lot harder when you get a 15-year mortgage? Look at that. When you lower the term on your mortgage, go from 30 to 15, you make it harder to pay it off cheaper. Right now, we're losing a ton of money on these loans. We're losing big money. If you want to stop losing money, learn how to give the bank money when you don't need to, when they're not expecting it. Now, I'm not saying you have to come up with a full principal payment. What if you are able to come up with just half the money, half of $164? Okay? You would get rid of half this interest right there. So the smaller the principal payment, the more control you have over this loan. Why do I say that? Because when you add up all the principal payments, it comes to $2,031.55. So let me ask the audience, whether you are watching me online or right here in the studio audience, all right, here in Clubhouse, if I'm supposed to give them $2,031.55 to pay my loan down by that much, but I got to give them $13,900 in interest to do it. Let me ask you, do I have to give them the $2,031.55 in 12 monthly installments? Okay. Do I have to do that? Do I have to give it to them in 12 monthly installments? Listen, I'm looking for answers. Give me a yes, give me a no, put it in the chat. If you can't talk to me this morning, at least put it in the chat. Let's participate in this thing. Okay? You do not have to give it to them in 12 monthly installments. Let's just say you had it. Let's say you're fortunate enough to make them your mortgage payment, and you have fortunate enough to have $2,000 in a bank account that's making what? 1/10 of 1%. If you prepay this $2,031.55 when the bank is not expecting it, you're paid down to line 12 on your amortization schedule, and you just saved yourself nearly $13,000 in interest you don't have to pay. And it only takes $2,031 to do that. What does it take to pay off 1 year, to prepay 1 year on your loan if it's a 15-year mortgage? What if it's a 15-year mortgage? Oh, now it takes $7,819 to take off 1 year and save $13,000. What if it's a 10-year mortgage? In the first year, now you have to prepay $14,000 to take off 1 year and save $13,000 in interest. Once you learn how to read this thing, it makes a big difference. So if I'm trying to take off 1 year, 12 months off this thing that I never have to pay, and I don't have to eliminate $13,000 in interest, is it easier to come up with $14,000 to do it or $2,000 to do it? I need to know if this makes sense to everybody. Put it in the chat. Let me know if it makes sense to you. Start inviting people now. Okay? Never get a 15-year mortgage. Always get a 30-year and learn how to pay it off in 7. Miss Sophia, I see you in here today. How are you this morning?
Good morning, everyone. Sophia Fuentes, New Jersey Realtor full-time New Jersey Realtor. I'm doing excellent. Thank you for this information. It's great. Thank you for inviting me up.
You are so welcome. What do you say about this? Has anybody ever pointed this out to you? The difference between a 30-year, a 15-year, and a 10-year mortgage?
Well, I'm not in as detailed as you have. I have heard of it, but definitely what you're teaching and how you're helping us to understand. And for me, it's very important that I'm learning to help my clients as I assist them with purchase of their home. don't do mortgages, but just having an understanding of how it works, I think is an added value to my clients.
You better believe it, because if somebody called me the other day, and they were getting ready to make a decision on a particular loan, and by listening to P.I.L.L method advice, saved them $60,000. And we did that in 5 minutes. $60,000. Once you understand how an amortization schedule works, if you're in real estate, you can save your clients tons of money. Tons. That's a $60,000 savings. Now, let me show you, ladies and gentlemen, why it is so important to get a 30-year mortgage over a 15 over a 10, because when you control the principal payment, you control the loan. And interest payments you can skip, don't matter. I don't care how big the interest payments are. I just don't care. But if I control the principal payment, I control this loan. And to prove that, in the 70s, I'm going to put one more up, a $70,000 mortgage at 18%. Did you know in the 70s it got to 18%? And this is why it's so important to learn how to read this thing. Okay. So we're going to put one more up. We're going to put one more Brett Whistle up. Okay. Come on, Brett. Talk to us this morning. All right. We're going to put up $70,000 because that was the median home price in the 70s. 18% interest. Okay. 30-year loan. Here it is. Okay. So we get rid of the advertising. I like Brett, but there it is. The payment is $1,054.96. Look at the principal payment here, ladies and gentlemen. The principal payment. Good morning, Fatima. All right. I see you, Derek. All right, Curtis. I see you, Mario. All right. I need more people on the stage. Raise your hand, and Ken will bring you up to the stage, and Jonathan will too. All right. Jonathan, listen. This is bad advice that people are getting. All right. And what they need to know is you don't need permission to have a 15. Oh, there she is. Good morning, Fatima. You don't need a permission to have a 15-year mortgage, a 20-year mortgage, or a 10-year mortgage. Get a 30-year mortgage. All right. And if you want to turn it into a 15-year mortgage, figure out what the 15-year payment would be and start paying it. You don't need permission. You can go ahead and start making that 15-year payment. Even if you don't know Dave Ramsey, if you don't know me, you can figure this out and pay and get on a 15-year loan. It says, well, Don, what about if I get a 15-year mortgage, I can get a lower interest rate? That's a whole different story. Maybe we'll get a chance to talk about it today. But the lower the interest rate, the harder it is to pay the loan off cheaper and faster. I'm just telling you. If I have a choice between a 7% mortgage and a 5.5% mortgage, and I can afford the payment on both, I'm taking the 7% mortgage all day, every day. All day, every day. Give me the 7 over the 5.5 if I can afford the payments. Because you have more control. Control the principal payment and you control this loan. All right. Fatima, how are you doing this morning?
Good morning. I'm doing great. And yourself?
I am doing excellent. Thank you very much. Listen, do you have any input on putting 20% down on a mortgage to avoid PMI, a 15-year mortgage, or having 3 to 6 months cash for emergency funds? Because that's what we're talking about today.
Well, for now, I'm just here as a student. I always love to pop in and listen to you and jot down notes. So that's always been helpful. But right now I'm driving, but I will tap back in just, momentarily though.
All right. Listen, if anybody has a question, you need to interrupt me. Because I can listen, I've been doing this 19 years and I can talk all day on this subject. Don't wait for me to breathe. Don't wait for me to have a pause. Interrupt me right away. Raise your hand, come to the stage, and ask your questions today. Today is the day to learn. All right. And if you get to, when you get to our YouTube channel, make sure you hit the subscribe button and make sure that you hit that notification bell, because we're going to be giving out we're going to be giving this information out free of charge for you today, but we show you the numbers. Do you see this 30-year mortgage at 18% interest? Look at these principal payments. $4.96 goes to principal. $1,050 goes to interest. The very next payment, only $5.03 goes to principal, and $1,049.93 goes to interest. But remember, control the principal payment and you control this loan. How much do I have to prepay once I make January's payment? How much do I have to prepay to get rid of February's interest? Listen, I'm not going to say a word till somebody puts it in the chat. Okay. All right. If you're watching this, if you can see this, to get rid of the interest on line 2, what do I have to do, ladies and gentlemen? Can I get somebody to put it in the chat today? All right. What do I have to do to get rid of $1,049 in interest? What do I have to do to get rid of it? Do I have somebody? I got some people who are watching online. Okay, go ahead and put it in there. I'll tell you what the principal payment is if you can't. Just pay the principal early, Lydia says. Lydia, the principal on line 2 is $5.03. As $5.03. If I prepay the $5.03, will that get rid of the interest on line 2, ladies and gentlemen? It's hard to believe, isn't it? It's hard to believe that only $5 will knock off one line off your mortgage. Let me show you this, Mr. Ramsey. Why are you telling the people that? Okay. Well, look at the amount of principal in 12 months. It's $64.67. When you prepay the $64.67, you knock 1 year off this loan and save yourself almost $12,000 worth of interest you never have to pay. Isn't that phenomenal? All right. When you understand this, ladies and gentlemen, when you understand how to read an amortization schedule, you will never get a 15-year mortgage. Never, ever, ever. Ken, how are you doing this morning? You haven't talked to me this morning. What's going on?
I'm all right this morning, drinking my tea and learning.
Okay. All right. Good to see you. And thank you for coming up here. Thank you for bringing people up. And Jonathan Bing, I know, listen, have you got your voice back yet, Jonathan? Jonathan lost his voice the other day. Okay. So, but he's here this morning. I'm glad he's here. He's representing. So Jonathan, jump in at any time I say something that's incorrect. You know, Jonathan will do that. If you're incorrect, he will jump in in a microsecond. All right. And straighten that stuff out. All right. So listen, I got Rhonda on the stage. Good morning, Rhonda. Can Rhonda talk to us? Fernando, I see you down there.
Good morning, Ice. Good morning, Simone. Hi.
Where are you from? Where are you right now, Rhonda?
Charleston, South Carolina.
Charleston, South Carolina. Do you have a question or comment about today's show?
I do not. I'm eagerly listening to what you have to say.
All right. Well, listen, when you have a question about it, please say something, okay? I'm hoping this makes sense to everybody. All right. What I've gone over so far, are you convinced now? Are you convinced now that you don't have to get a 15-year mortgage? You can get a 30 and make the 15-year payment if that's all you know. Okay. Or if you have a 30-year mortgage, you have more control over the loan than you do if you have a 15 or a 10-year mortgage. Does everybody see that right about now? Okay. Fernando, how are you doing, sir? All right, maybe he can't talk. Some of you guys, oh yeah, he says good morning. Good morning, sir. Good morning. Good morning. Now, I've gone over the 15-year mortgage, and it's amazing how the interest payments are similar on 3 different mortgages: the 30, the 15, and the 10. Now, let's talk about putting 20% down, and whether to avoid PMI. 20% down to avoid PMI. You just don't want to do it. I wish I had more people on the stage. All right. I wish I had more people on the stage. All right. So watch this, ladies and gentlemen. This is another thing that Dave Ramsey teaches. Let's go to this $400,000 mortgage. All right. If anybody wants to hear that about the 15-year mortgage, I'll go back to that if you want to hear more about it. But right now, we're going over this idea of putting 20% down. Let's do this. We're going to pretend as if we can get 100% financing. It's just going to cut the example shorter. You can get 100% financing, but you have a choice of putting 20% down, okay? To avoid PMI. All right, so now what we're going to do is put a calculator on the screen and go over this. It's a $400,000 mortgage. Interest rate is around 7%, okay? So now we're going to, let me get this out of the way. All right, good. So we have 400,000. So 400,000 times 20% equals $80,000. You've got 80 grand that you could put down on this loan to avoid PMI. So let's take a look at that. So we're going to put 80 grand on that. So we're going to end up with a $320,000 mortgage. Okay. 320,000. So we're going to put that in 320,000 at 7%, which makes our payment. I had to put 360. 360. Let's do that again. There we go. 2,128.97. All right. As opposed to 2,661.21. Okay. 2,661.21. And if I put $80,000 down, my payment is $21,28.97. There you go. All right. So let's see, 3, that's 4, 2, and okay, $523 difference. $523 difference. I got to come up with 80 grand to make a $500 a month difference in my mortgage payment and to avoid PMI. Okay. Now, how many have heard this advice? How many have heard this advice? Okay. If you've heard this advice, put a number 9 in the chat right now. Put a number 9 in the chat right now. If you've heard, listen, put 20% down, avoid PMI, get a smaller mortgage payment. Go ahead, put it in the chat. Put a number 9 if you've heard this advice, whether you're online or in Clubhouse right now. Okay. I need to see it. All right. Arthur Scott says, I've heard that. All right. There's a number 9. Anybody else? Come on. Let's get more people. Let's get some more participation here. All right. Number 9, if you've heard this advice. And then we're going to talk about what to do. Can I get some number 9s online? I see some people in here that are watching us online. Okay, Arthur, Lydia. All right, there you go, Ken. Ken puts a double 9 in. Okay, listen, folks, let me show you what's going on here. So if you put $80,000 down, your mortgage is now $320,000, and you start out on payment number 1 with no PMI. All right. Can I point out another difference right now between the two mortgages? The total amount of interest that the bank wants you to pay on this loan is 400. This is the $320,000 mortgage. This is after you put 20% down. Total interest paid is $446,429.20. All right. Total interest paid over 30 years on the 400,000 is 558,000. 558 and $35.60. Okay. So let's look at the difference here. We're going to put that on the screen. All right. 558, $35.60 minus the, if I put this 80 grand down, if I put 80 grand down, all right. So now my total interest is 446, 429 and 20 cents. Look at there. Okay, Dave Ramsey. So Dave Ramsey's trying to save us $606.04. All right, trying to save us $111,000 by putting $80,000 down, and we avoid PMI. But the P.I.L.L method way says get the $400,000 mortgage. Get the $400,000 mortgage. Now, if I get the $400,000 mortgage, do I still have my 80 grand in the bank? Do I still have my 80 grand because I did not put it down? Do I still have it? I was ready to put it down, but I saw a video, a P.I.L.L method video on YouTube. I saw a P.I.L.L method video on Instagram or TikTok or Facebook. Everywhere you go, you can find a P.I.L.L method video. Okay. And on that, it says, don't put 20% down. I have my $80,000. So I need to know, what can I do with my $80,000 if I have it after this loan closes? I've got a $400,000 loan and I still have 80 grand. What could I do with that 80 grand right now? Can somebody put it in the chat for me? Somebody who wants to participate, or somebody come off mic that's on stage, open up your mic and tell me, what could I do with my 80 grand? Anybody on stage?
You can reinvest it.
I could reinvest it. Okay. I can invest it somewhere else. Okay. What else could I do with that 80 grand, Ken? Now, I was going to put it down as a down payment. Okay. Until I saw a P.I.L.L method video. But what else could I do with it? Could I put it down as a prepayment, Ken, on this loan?
Yeah.
I could, couldn't I? What would happen if I did? Okay. If you all want to see what could happen if I put this down, all right, let's just show what could happen. And I'm going to tell you, Mr. Ramsey, that you don't need to put a 20% down payment to avoid PMI. Just to save on this loan, $111,000. You could use it as a prepayment. Now, are you paying PMI? Yes, you are. Yes, you are. So I'm going to put it down as a prepayment. Let's go down to the loan here. And I need you to take a look at the third column here, cumulative principal. And if we put $80,000 down with the first payment, I have to go to where the cumulative principal adds up to about $80,000. Let me show you something here. So we're going to scroll down. And when we hit $80,000, I'm going to stop. Man, we're at 108 payments already, 120 payments. That's 10 years at $56,000. $56,000 takes 10 years off this loan. Okay. All right, $64, 64,000. All right, here we are at about 152 payments. That's $79,858.42. Okay, we just put 80 grand. We're going to put 80 grand on this mortgage and knock off either 152 or 153 payments. Let's do the math on that. Okay, 152 payments divided by 12. That's 12 years. Okay, 152 payments, 156 payments is 13 years. That's almost 13 years off this mortgage. And Dave Ramsey wants to put down where you put down 80%, 20%, and over the life of the loan, you could save $111,000. If you use that $80,000 this way and put it with your first payment, you knock off almost 13 years off this loan and save $320,000 in interest right now. $320,000 in interest you never have to pay.
So Don, with the 80, this is Sophia from New Jersey.
Yes.
With the extra $80,000 that the homeowner has, so they would send that money in along with their regular payment and just identify it as to be applied to the principal. What does that look like when the homeowner is paying that prepayment?
Well, it could look like just like you described it. They can send it in with their first payment and say, apply this to principal only. They could do it that way. Or they can send it in at any time during the first month. They can make their regular payment, and any other day in the first month, they can apply this 80 grand and get the same result. What do you say, Ms. Sophia?
Okay, so it has to be done in the first payment, the first month?
No, you don't have to do it, but if you did, this is what would happen.
Okay.
You could prepay it at any time. Now, let me ask you, Sophia, if $80,000 takes off 20% before the loan closes, does $80,000 take off 20% after the loan closes?
I think so.
Yes. Okay. So listen.
It's the same.
Yeah, it's exactly the same. It's exactly the same. So let's take a look at the amortization schedule. All right. You'll be able to see this when you watch this online. So if I go over where it says 79,800 or 80,600, look at my principal payment. I still have $320,000. I can have $320,000 and start at payment number one if I make a down payment of $80,000, but I'm starting out at payment number one. If I start out at the $400,000 loan and then give my $80,000 after the loan closes, all right, I can knock off almost 13 years off this loan, and I'm still at 320 payments, but I'm at line 152 on my amortization schedule, not at line 1. Now you tell me, is this, Sophia, is this the same $80,000 before or after? Is it the same 80 grand?
Yes, it's the same 80 grand.
Is the difference, I mean, amazingly different or just a little bit different of the results you get?
A huge difference. Amazing.
Okay, it's a huge difference. If you're going to do that, do you want your money to work harder for you? Mr. Ramsey, why are you telling people to put that money as a down payment when they can have the same result if they make a pre-payment after the loan closes and knock off $300,000 in interest they never have to pay and knock off 13 years off a 30-year loan? Oh, my goodness. It's
Don, that's what I was about to say. Wouldn't that 80 be worth more than 80 from the savings if you apply it as a prepayment?
it certainly does more work for you, Ken. It certainly does more work for you. So Ken, you do loans. You do a business purpose loans, don't you?
Correct.
All right. So if you had a client that had an additional amount, now they usually have to have about 20% down. But if they had additional money, would you tell them go ahead and use it as a down payment, or would you tell them to use that additional money as a prepayment?
Since listening to you for the last 3 years, a prepayment.
Okay. So I'm telling you, you and Sophia, you could be heroes and sheroes to your clients if they were getting ready to do this. And listen, so Sophia, coming back to you, okay?
I'm here.
Okay, so if I don't put this 80% down, if I don't put, this $80,000 down, which amounts to $20,000, I have PMI on this loan, don't I?
Yes.
Okay, but if I make a $80,000 prepayment, can I have the PMI taken off?
Yes, just by the calculation.
So I'm still at 80%, aren't I?
Yes.
Okay. So the only difference between my advice and Dave Ramsey's advice, he wants you to stop paying, don't pay PMI from the beginning. With my advice, you pay PMI for 1 month, but you knock off 13 years off the loan and save over $300,000. Why isn't
That's a huge difference.
Dave Ramsey?
Yeah,
Go ahead.
Oh, I'm just saying. I apologize to interrupt. That's a huge difference. That's a mind shift, right? But that's a huge difference, and the money and the time that the homeowner would gain as a win, they could use the money someplace else. And the years, I mean, it's almost like taking back those years, getting those years back.
It is amazing. It is amazing. Let me tell you something, folks. I need you to listen to this. Because Dave Ramsey is giving out this advice, even though he knows who I am and he knows what I teach. Okay. So I'm going to play a video of Dave Ramsey talking about the P.I.L.L method right now. You need to hear this. Okay. So let's go ahead, and it's just a few seconds. He had a caller. There was a caller that called in to ask a question about prepayment of principal. And as soon as she mentions prepayment of principal, watch Dave Ramsey fold his arms. Dave Ramsey's going to fold his arms as soon as she mentions prepayment of principal. And if you watch this online, he never answers her question. He never answers that question. Now watch and listen. All right, here it is.
Good.
So I am more of like a future planner. Like, I don't like to think just like, where are we going to be in 5 years? Like, I'm thinking more about the mortgage when my husband graduates, because we'll have a much larger income.
Mm-hmm.
And I have heard a lot about like prepaid interest or prepaid principal.
Mm-hmm.
And they don't really understand how that works. Like, I was watching the P.I.L.L method, and then he was talking about taking out loans, and I was like, this guy's a nut. So I just stopped listening to it.
Did you hear what he said? Do I need to play that one more time? Let's play it one more time. So when she says that he's a nut, I need you to listen for what Dave Ramsey's response is. One more time. Here it is.
Good.
So I am more of like a future planner. Like, I don't like to think just like, where are we going to be in 5 years? Like, I'm thinking more about the mortgage when my husband graduates, because we'll have a much larger income.
Mm-hmm.
And I have heard a lot about like prepaid interest or prepaid principal.
Mm-hmm.
And they don't really understand how that works. Like, I was watching the P.I.L.L method, and then he was talking about taking out loans, and I was like, this guy's a nut. So I just stopped listening to it.
Yeah.
So why does Dave Ramsey go straight to he is a nut? He didn't ask what is the P.I.L.L method. He didn't ask who teaches that. He just went straight to he is a nut. Does that indicate to you that he knows who I am? Does that indicate that he knows something about what we teach here at the P.I.L.L method?
Absolutely.
Okay. So, ladies and gentlemen, the advice. Okay, I see you, Thea. I see you. I see you. So listen. Somebody once said, "You know you've made it. You know you've made it." Okay, somebody online is saying that Daniel. Listen. Daniel's going to be in Orlando. Okay, Daniel said yes. He says that online. Okay, listen. You know you've made it when you get famous haters. You know you've made it when somebody famous becomes your hater. Why is it that Dave Ramsey calls me a nut when we're giving out this kind of advice? Yeah, put your $80,000 down if that's all you know to do, but put it down after the fact if you can afford the payment. When you do that, ladies and gentlemen, knocking off 13 years off this loan and saving $300,000 in interest you don't have to pay instead of the $111,000 he's going to help you to save over 30 years, okay? It doesn't make sense. So why is he doing that? Why is he doing that? I don't want to try to speculate as to why, but I do know this, that he thinks, or at least he says, I'm a nut. What do you all think? Do you think that this is bad information? Do you think P.I.L.L method do you think Don Daniel is a nut? I'm just saying here, okay? Amari Parks online says, okay, here's what she says, ladies and gentlemen. He doesn't understand it. He doesn't understand it, okay? And maybe he doesn't. But by being in this business for so many years, you think he should? So let me ask you, if I sat down and gave this same information to Mr. Dave Ramsey, do you think he would understand it? Do you understand it? First of all, do you think he should be able to understand it if I explained it to him like I'm explaining it to you?
I think he does understand it, right? Because he's been in business for so many years. But the cost or the loss that he would incur from followers, partners, you name it, right? From A to Z that partners with him over the years, and people that's following him, now he stands to lose his reputation as teaching false information. Or it's not false, but he could have taught the method as well, but he's just giving different information. So he has a lot to lose.
He has a lot to lose. That is so true. And as soon as she started mentioning prepayment of principal, his whole demeanor changed. Oh my gosh. Okay. His whole demeanor changed. Now, let's talk about that. Now we've talked about putting 20% down. Now he gave these three pieces of advice in a short segment on one of his videos, and now he has it out as a short, and he's playing it. His team is playing that thing all over. Put 20% down, avoid PMI, get a 15-year mortgage. And in fact, he says, if you can't afford a 15-year mortgage, you can't afford the house. I'm saying never, ever, 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 ever get a 15-year mortgage ever. Don't you dare do it. You don't need to. Okay? And here's the third piece of advice. 3 to 6 months cash, emergency fund. 3 to 6 months cash, emergency fund. And I'm going to tell you about a conversation I had with a young banker here in Huntsville, Alabama. Okay. Now, how many of you have heard that you should have an emergency fund of 3 to 6 months of your monthly expenses? How many have heard that? Save it up, put it away so that you can have that. How many have heard that? 3 to 6 months cash. Lydia Turner says she's heard it. Okay. Lydia Turner says she's heard it. I'm going to talk about something else. I'm going to give you a different perspective on that. Sophia says, yeah, she's heard it. All right. Daniel, what he says? Daniel says here online, says, save and hold things is all we have been incorrectly taught. Okay. Incorrectly taught. I see you, Daniel. I see you. Okay. Listen, sometimes when you're using speech to text, sometimes Siri gets it wrong. She doesn't hear you right and spells it wrong, doesn't she? So here's what we're going to talk about now, folks. We're going to take a look at 3 to 6 months. Okay, I'm going to put up a brand new screen here. I'm going to put it up, and we're going to go over. I'm talking to a young guy at a bank here in Huntsville. All right. And right now, at the time, he had a $400,000. I think it was like 400,000 or 360,000. We're just going to call it 400,000, but it was at 4%. Okay. And it makes a good income. All right. He was a junior VP at the bank. And he says he was going to put away $36,000. He's got $36,000 he's using as an emergency fund. Okay, just in case something happens. Now, on the face of it, it sounds like a good idea, just in case. Because if you don't have an emergency fund and you have an emergency, it means that you'll probably have to put your emergency on your credit card and pay credit card interest, or get a loan and pay interest that way, doesn't it? So to avoid interest, right? He says, I'm going to put that money in the bank. All right. So I said to him, all right, do you want, let's see here. So I said about 80,000 at the time. All right. I said, do you want to pay $80,000 in interest to avoid paying $5,000 in interest? He says, what? I said, do you want to pay $80,000 in interest so that you can avoid paying $5,000 in interest? So now we're talking about this the putting away cash in the bank, all right, for an emergency fund. And he says, no, I wouldn't do that. I said, that's what you're getting ready to do. He says, what do you mean? I said, I'm in his office. I said, pull up Brett Whistle on your computer. So he does, puts in the mortgage. All right. And I said, does your mortgage look like this? Okay. Here's your principal payment. Here's your interest payment. He says, yes. I said, could you take the $36,000 and prepay it to your loan? He says, well, yeah, I could, but why would I do that? Now, here's a guy who works in a bank, and at the time, he did not know the benefit of prepayment. So I took him through each step, all right? I said, did you realize that if you prepay $578.25 here on this loan, that you eliminate over $1,300 worth of interest, and you take one line off your amortization schedule? He said, no, I didn't know that. I do now. I said, if you make the payment number one here and prepay 3 principal payments, about $1,600, do you realize that that's 26, that's 30. Do you realize that's about $4,000 in interest you never have to pay, and you take off 4 lines off your amortization schedule, 4 payments you never have to make, and all you prepaid was about $1,600, and you eliminate $4,000 worth of interest? He said, I didn't know that either. And he works at a bank. Guess what they're not teaching people at the bank, ladies and gentlemen? They're not teaching people at the bank how amortization actually works. Now, let me ask you something. I don't know how many years Dave Ramsey has been doing this, and he's been telling people that borrowing money is not good. Borrowing money is not right. Okay. It's a bad thing to do. It's a stupid thing to do. All right. So let me tell you, after all of these years, has he ever done a show on how to read an amortization schedule? Because that's where the interest comes from. Have you ever seen him explain it like we're explaining it here at the P.I.L.L Method? Putting an amortization schedule on the screen and going over it step by step? Have you ever seen him do that? How in the world are you going to teach people about loans and you don't teach how to read an amortization schedule and how to beat the bank at their own game? You know, he hates loans. So if you think he would, as much as he hates them, you would think he would teach this. Let me show you something here, ladies and gentlemen. Let me show you. What happens if you put the $36,000 as a prepayment on this loan? Let's scroll down to $36,000. When I showed him this, he could have fallen off his chair. We're going to prepay $36,112.82. Look at this. It knocks off almost 5 years off this loan. Okay, 57 payments and $72,000 in interest saved. He never has to pay. 72 grand. In the midst of his excitement to learn that his $36,000 that's sitting in a bank account making 0.1%, and at the time he could have gotten like a money market making maybe 2%. I don't know, maybe at the time. Okay. But this $36,000, okay, this is like 200% return on your money. Invest $36,000 in your mortgage and save $72,000 in interest you never have to pay. Okay. That's 200% ROI all day, ladies and gentlemen. So in the midst of his excitement, it came to him. He says, Don, if I put this on my mortgage, I don't have an emergency fund. I said, well, you work at a bank. He says, yeah. Could you get a line of credit? Could you get a home equity line of credit, a HELOC? Now, he has equity in his home already. Okay. He has a lot more equity than this. So I said, could you get a HELOC for $36,000? He says, yes, I could. Okay. And then I asked him, if you had a HELOC worth $36,000, how much interest are you paying on that HELOC? He says, I'm not paying any interest because it's just sitting there. I haven't used any of the money. So are you telling me that the chances are of you and your wife losing your jobs at the same time is practically nil? You have $36,000 available to you that is not costing you anything. And you could put $36,000 down on your mortgage and save yourself over 70 grand in interest and knock off almost 5 years off your loan with that same money. And you still have 36 grand available to you and it's not costing you anything. And chances are you'll never have to use it for that reason. You should have seen the look on his face. Why is Dave Ramsey teaching that? Why is Dave teaching that? But then he said, you know what, Don? If something did happen, on the off chance that it did happen, I would have to borrow that money. And then I'd have to pay interest on it. I said, yes, you would. Let's take a look at it, ladies and gentlemen. Let's take a look at if he had to borrow every single dime of that $36,000. Every single dime of that $36,000. So we're going to put another amortization schedule up. All right. We're going to put another amortization schedule up. And we're going to put in $36,000. Okay. Now, somebody give me an interest rate. Okay. He works at the bank. At the time, he could get a 4% mortgage. Give me an interest rate on this $36,000. I'm looking in the chat. Can somebody give me an interest rate? 36,000. What's this interest rate going to be? Okay. And give me a term. Give me an interest rate and a term. 36,000 for how much interest? All right. Because if you don't give me anything, I'm going to put it in at 6%. I'm not saying anything. Okay. Nobody wants to participate with me. I wish more people would come to the stage and participate. This is good stuff. All right. This is good stuff. So let's put in 6%. Okay. 6%. And let's give him 60 months to pay it off. Okay, Daniel said 7% at 60 months. Daniel, I'm going to go with the 7% because you said so. Daniel said 7% at 60 months. We're going to do that. Okay, 7% at 60 months. So we're going to delete that. And here's our payment. Okay, our payment is $712.84. Now, let's just say he could pay this off early if he wanted to. Okay, let's just say he lost his job or something. He couldn't work for a while and he had to borrow all $36,000. And now he has to pay it back. He's working again. He went to a different bank. I mean, he's got a skill set, right? He's marketable. So he's working at a different bank, probably making more money now. Okay. And so he says, well, now I got to pay back that 60 grand. And now I got to pay interest on it. All right. And the interest rate is 7%. And the term is 60 months. Let's just say it takes him all 5 years to pay it back. Total interest on this is $6,770.40. And that's if he doesn't prepay. That's if he makes every single payment on time. The total cost of borrowing that money is $6,770.40. So here comes the question. Should you keep that money in the bank and pay $70,000 on your mortgage, $72,000 on your mortgage, okay, to avoid paying $6,000, $6,700 on a loan if you use a line of credit for your emergency fund? Folks, what do you think? What do you think? I would never, does anybody, listen, I would never have that kind of cash sitting around making so little money just in case something goes wrong. You know that there are Daniel says, sign me up for that HELOC. Okay, go look at Daniel says. Okay, go ahead, Daniel. Daniel says, sign me up for that HELOC. Let me tell you something, folks. Even if we put it on a credit card, even if you put it on a credit card, and let's just say, I'm going to show you something else. We're going to save $70,000 in interest if we put that $36,000 on this mortgage, over 70 grand in interest. Somebody give me a credit card interest rate. Let me show you something else. Give me a credit card interest rate, somebody. Why do people avoid credit cards so much? All right. Martina has a question. What about having the emergency fund in a high yield investment? You could do that. All right. So Martina, you could put it in a high yield investment. All right. I'm okay with that. But usually if it's high yield, it's not liquid. Okay. It's not liquid, meaning if you have it in a high yield investment, then if you take it out, then you're going to be penalized that interest that you made. Does that make sense, Martina? Usually. Okay. That's like if you had it in a CD, you took it out, you put it in some other investment vehicle, you take it out early, there's going to be penalties. Okay. So you lose that interest if you have to use it. All right. So Martina says 29%. Okay. 29% interest. So let's just say he doesn't have a He doesn't have a line of credit. You know, he doesn't have a HELOC, but he does have a revolving line, which is his credit card. And his credit card is a high interest rate, 29%. Let me show you how to put a 29% credit card into Brett Whistle here, okay? So we're going to go to Brett Whistle, and we're going to put in that $36,000, okay? He's going to use every dime of that, okay? 36,000 at 29%. Now, the number of payments, credit cards use a 20-year amortization. They use a 20-year amortization, all right? So we're going to put in 240 months here to figure out how much interest he would pay in the first month. I see your 27.79%, Daniel, but I'm going to go with Martina. It's 29%. All right, thank you, Martina, for that. Okay, so what is the very first interest payment on this loan? Okay, the very first interest payment is, okay, the first interest payment is, where's my interest only? $870. Okay, $870, which is pretty high. $870. Let me do a little math here. Now, this would never happen in life. Okay, I'm doing something that's a little absurd here. Let's just say that he uses this and he's going to pay $870 a month every single month until it's paid off. Right? He can pay this thing off, but you know that as you pay down a credit card, the interest cost goes down as you pay it down. Okay. So let's see here, 60. I'm just playing around here. 60 months times 60 months. Okay. All right. That's still $52,000. Okay. Which is, he would never, ever pay that much interest on this credit card, but it's still, folks, it's still less than the $72,000 he would save if he put the money on the mortgage. Okay. 72, that's still a $20,000 difference. So let me ask you something. Would you make a deal? Would you make a deal on something if, depending on the deal, if there was a $20,000 upside? $20,000 upside for you making this deal. Now, it's going to be a lot more than that because he's never going to pay that if we use that, okay? All right. Listen, ladies and gentlemen, if he does this right, the most interest he's going to pay on this thing is like $2,000 or $3,000, if that. Don't be afraid of borrowing money because you're looking at the interest rate. Do the math and figure out the interest cost, and then you can make good decisions. We've been taught to be afraid of interest rate when we should be focusing on interest cost. We've talked about putting cash away. Cash is not king in this society, ladies and gentlemen. A wise use of somebody else's money is way better than me trying to buy everything cash. I don't pay cash. I don't want to pay cash for my house. I don't want to pay cash for my car. I want to borrow the money and then pay the bank pennies on the dollar for the use of their money, because isn't that what banks do? Isn't that what they do? Are banks the biggest borrowers in town? You tell me. Are banks the biggest borrowers in town? And whose money do they borrow? All right. They borrow our money. And then what do they do with the money that they borrow from us? They make big money with that money. All right. And what do they pay us for depositing money in their bank? What do they pay us for the use of our money? Pennies. Suzanne Gwynn says they pay us pennies for the use of our money. Why can't we do the same thing? Why can't we learn how to borrow money at a discount? Okay. By prepaying, you can get a great return on your money. You can get a great return on your money. Okay. I see you, Patricia. I see you, Patricia, putting that 1/10 of 1% in there. I see you. That's what's happening. Can I show you something here that is absolutely amazing? Let's go back to this 400,000. Okay. And I'm going to show you how to figure ROI on this. Okay. And I'm just going to use this $400,000 mortgage at 4%. And let's take a look at line 2 on this mortgage. Okay. So here's how you figure ROI. Okay. The Shika, all right, as a realtor says you can invest that money. You most certainly can. I love what you're talking about here. So here's what I'm saying, ladies and gentlemen. If you do this thing right, if you can afford the mortgage, and in this particular mortgage, let's take a look at the total interest paid. Okay. Total interest paid of $400,000 at 4%. Total interest is $287,000. But what if you don't have to pay $287,000 to get the same asset? Let's say you can pay 1/3 of that. Okay. And you have the same asset. Now, if you signed a mortgage that said you're okay with paying $287,000 over 30 years, then you should be okay with paying 2/3 less if you can get away with it. But you still own the same asset at 2/3 less interest. Okay? You could do that. All right? So, if we could, what could you do with the interest savings? So I'm just putting a calculator here. Okay, we're just doing a quick math. This is an exact right now. Okay, 287,000 447. We're going to divide it by. Okay, we're going to subtract 75%. Okay, and end up paying $71,000 instead, $72,000. So I can pay $72,000 instead, and I can take the 220,000 or so, 220,000, and 210,000, and I signed a note to pay that. But if I didn't have to pay it, is that money I could later invest instead of giving it to the bank? What do you think, Bella? You like that idea? The bank says I can have this property, but I have to pay them $287,000 in interest if I keep their money for 30 years. But what if I had a plan to pay it off and I can only pay them $72,000 instead? That means the $200,000 I didn't have to pay them to get the same asset, I could invest somewhere else. Ladies and gentlemen, we're losing money hand over fist on these loans by not being taught. I mean, not even the gurus like Dave Ramsey, all right, are telling us that putting 20% down on the mortgage when you don't have to, and you can use that money as a prepayment. If you can't get a 15-year mortgage, he says, you can't afford the house. I never get a 15-year mortgage ever. I can't think of one good reason ever. There is no redeemable reason to get a 15-year mortgage when you can get a 30, all right, and pay it off in 7. Or if you don't know anything about the P.I.L. method, if you don't know anything about Dave Ramsey, you can get a 30-year mortgage and make the 15-year payment. Here's the other thing: 3 to 6 months cash sitting around in the bank, molding away. Let's not even talk about the time value of money. Let's not even talk about the fact that the money you make on that money sitting in the wrong account will not overcome inflation. In fact, the longer you keep that money in a a low yield account, the longer you keep it there, the less it's worth. Why do we have financial experts coming on TV, coming on the radio, coming on the internet, telling people that they have millions of followers, and they don't show them any math whatsoever? They're not showing them the numbers. They're telling them what sounds good to their ear because they've said it over and over and over again. Is there some benefit to what they're saying? Yes, there is. Are people getting out of debt faster? Yes, they are. But do they realize that they are paying way more interest than they need to pay? They don't realize that at all. So, ladies and gentlemen, who has questions for me today? These are the three big things that we went over today. Okay, who has questions for me? Because now I'm getting ready to show you how to figure ROI. Okay, now I'm not a big math person, so I had to go on Google. It says, how do I figure ROI on this thing? So let me show you something that's very simple. Here is a $400,000 mortgage at 4%. Well, let's take this out because this was an old example. I'm going to put it in at 7% because that's kind of where we are today. Okay. So here's a $400,000 mortgage at 7%. Okay. I'll take the advertising off. And here's what the bank wants. $400,000 at 7%, $558,000 in interest. Okay. Anybody interested in paying $558,000 interest on their $400,000 home? In other words, do you want to pay $958,000 for a $400,000 house? Anybody? Any takers? Okay. I love this loan. I absolutely love this loan because I can kill it with prepayments. Okay. Here's what we need to do. Let me change my media thing here. Okay. And there we go. All right. So let me pause for just a second because I haven't mentioned in a while our conference coming up in Orlando, and then I'll go over how we can do figure out ROI on this loan. Okay. So I'm going to be in Orlando, so I need you to be there. I've been talking about this for the last 12 weeks. This is our last show that we're talking about being to lead up to our conference in Orlando this Friday. All right. For 12 straight weeks, every week I've been here talking about this, and we've sold a bunch of tickets. A lot of people are coming. But if you get a ticket now, it will not include lunch. So the ticket is at a reduced price. Okay. But because it doesn't include lunch. So go to PopClive, POPCLIVE.com to get your ticket. You can still get to Orlando. You can jump on a plane. You can get one of those low cost carriers, and let's see you there in Orlando this Friday. All the information you'll be put in our automated system. As soon as you buy your ticket, you know what time it starts, you know what time it ends, you get information on the speakers, all of that. Go to POPCLIVE.com to get your ticket. I'll be in Orlando live all day Friday. All right. And we're going to be teaching some things that we've never taught before. We're going to go over the history of amortization. We're going to go over why amortization is done the way it is, how banks benefit, who really owns your mortgage and why they do it this way and why it's not taught anywhere. We're going to go from beginning to end and teach you a lot of things that's going to save you hundreds of thousands of dollars for the rest of your life. Okay, so let's be there. So we got $400,000, ladies and gentlemen, 400 grand. Let's break down this payment. So if I do this, let's say I make this payment here where $327.88 goes to principal, $2,333.33 goes to interest. All right. and I'm looking at payment number 2. So if this is January's payment, this would be February's payment. But you've heard me say many times, you can prepay as little as $329.79 and eliminate $2,331.42. Now, I've had real estate investors tell me, "Sis Don, I'm not making $2,333.31. I'm not making that. I'm not putting that in my bank. So what is the big deal?" Okay. And that's not how you should look at it. Here's how you should look at it. Every single month, you are making a payment. You are potentially increasing your equity, are you not? Are you paying the loan down, all right, by $327 here on line 1? Are you paying the loan down by $329 on line 2? Is that what you're doing? Okay. Yeah. But you have to give the bank 20 to do that. You got to give them $26.61 each month. You got to give them $2,661. They get to discount it by about 88%. So only 12% remains to pay down the loan. So to get $329 in principal or $329 in potential equity, the difference between how much you owe and how much the house is worth, okay, costs $2,331 of your hard-earned money. So does it cost, let me ask you this, to get this $329 applied to principal, doing it the bank's way, does it cost $2,331.42? Is there a cost here, ladies and gentlemen? Yes or no? Is it a huge cost to get this equity? Yes or no? All right. Bella says yes. All right. Does anybody else say yes? Does anybody say yes, there is a cost to getting this equity? All right. Martina says yes. All right. Lydia says no. All right. Okay. Lethea says yes. All right. So here's what we're saying. If you prepay, if I give the $329 to the bank early before they're expecting it, will they have to apply it to principal, and will I owe $329.79 less if I give it to them early? It goes immediately to principal, does it not? And if it goes immediately to principal, do I have to pay? Does it cost me $2,331.42? No, it does not. And I think that's what Lydia was getting to. If I prepay $329.79, I don't have to pay the interest of $2,331.42. In other words, doing it the bank's way costs me $2,300. Doing it my way or doing it your way, you give it to the bank when they're not expecting it. You get the equity for free. What? Cost you $0 in interest to give them the $329.79. Isn't that a huge difference, ladies and gentlemen? That's huge. $329, it can either cost me $2,300 or it could cost me $0. Oh my gosh. I love that. I love that. Now, it was Ben Franklin that said a penny saved is a penny earned. So what happens if I save $2,300? Can I increase my bottom line if I can get the $329 in equity for free and not pay $2,300 for it? You see, there's a couple of ways you can increase profits. You can increase profits by charging more and keeping your expenses the same. You can increase profits that way. Or you can charge the same and lower the cost of your expenses. You can increase profits that way. So we're talking about the latter here. where you can increase profits by lowering expenses. So if you give the money to the bank early and save $2,300, that means you've just taken $2,300 off this entire bill of $558,000. You've just taken $2,300 off that bill. You didn't have to pay. You don't have to pay that. So let's do the ROI. So first of all, let's put the calculator on the screen and we're going to show you how to do that. Okay. So how much money do you make or save if you invest $329? The answer is $2,331.42. Okay. So now we have to figure out what is our net increase? What is our net benefit for doing this? So if you're going to invest $329.79 early, you have to subtract that from what you made or saved. So we have to subtract, all right, $329.79 from the $23.31 that we just saved. So we're going to subtract $329.79, and our net is, we net $2,000, $2,163. Okay. Now, what we do next is we divided this number by what we're investing. So we're investing the $329 early. We're taking that money out of a bank account that's making what? That's making 1/10 of 1%. Okay. 1/10 of 1%. And let's see here. And then we're going to invest it into prepaying this loan. We're going to net $2,000 here. Okay. That's what we're doing. We're netting $2,000. And what happens next? We divide this number by what we invested. $329.79. Once we do the division, ladies and gentlemen, we will divide it into here. All right. Once we do the division, and then we take that answer and then multiply it by 100. That gives us our ROI. So let's divide it by 329.79 equals 6.069. And then we're going to multiply that by 100. We get 606% return on your money. Where else are you going to get that kind of return, ladies and gentlemen? 606% return. I could keep that money in my bank account. I could also invest it somewhere else, maybe some, that's what I've been told. Why would I do that if I could invest it in some real estate and make 10%, 20% cash on cash return? But where am I going to get 606% return on my money? By taking something as small as $329 and putting it in this mortgage and saving $2,300 and the net over $2,000. And that makes this turn into a 600% return on your money. Who doesn't want to make 600% return on their money? This is what happens when you learn how to read an amortization schedule. Do I have any questions? Do I have any comments? Please, I love questions. I love comments. You don't even listen, even if you don't agree with me, let's have a conversation. Does anybody have anything to say? I see you here, Richard. You got Fernando. I know Fernando's at work, right? Anybody have anything else to say about this? Oh my gosh. I absolutely love this. Now, I'm probably going to, I'm usually here all day, but, not all day, but until 11 Central, that was 12 Eastern, but we're leaving tomorrow. And guess how much I've packed? Haven't packed anything, but you know, I usually wait till the last minute to pack. But there's still stuff I have to do. Okay. So Lydia has a question. All right, Lydia, let's take a look at it. Does this method work on loans and credit cards? Yes, it does. Do you have a particular example you want me to take a look at? It most certainly works on loans and credit cards. Can I pull up our calculator? See, we have an opportunity cost calculator where you can put in all of your loans, your mortgages, your student loans, your credit cards. You can put in everything and work on how to pay off everything that you have in 7 to 9 years. That is student loans, that's credit cards, that's mortgages, that's car loans, that's everything. So I'm going to bring up our opportunity cost calculator here. So let me do that. I'm gonna bring it up on another screen and then I'll pull it over for you guys, okay? So let's take a look at that. Okay. P.I.L.L method. Let's bring that up so you guys can see it. And we'll pull this over for you. I'm loading it in right now. But Lydia, that is a great question. Okay? Because folks, what you want to be able to see is how you can manage all of your debt to get to how to save the maximum amount of interest that's mathematically possible. So when we get there, it says how to pay off. It says how to pay off a 200K mortgage in 15 years. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, well, if I do that example, you're going to beat me up, Martina. I can't do 200,000 in 15 years because most of my clients pay it off in 7. And I don't want you beating me up if I tell you how to do it in 15. Okay. So let's put some examples up. Okay. And let's see here. I'm going to pull up the P.I.L.L method demo and go over this for you. I think you're going to like what you see. And there it is. And we can do several different variations here. Okay. So if you're seeing this, ladies and gentlemen, here is our opportunity cost calculator. And I'm going to put in here, we're going to reset this account. And this is John and Rebecca Jones. And we gave John and Rebecca Jones this same advice, all right, about using credit instead of cash, using how not to put large down payments on a loan, never get a 15-year mortgage, always get a 30. They have this information. And let's see what they're looking at, Martina. And I hope you can see this online. All right. So we're going to plug everything in. And what are we looking at? They're not rich. They have $500 in checking. And we're going to go over this in detail in Orlando. All right. They have $500 in checking. They got $5,000 in savings. $5,000 in savings. All right. They have an auto loan that's $25,000 at 4%. They have a Visa at $2,000. All right, at 21%, and they have a $200,000 mortgage at 6%. So they owe a total of $227,000, Martina. But in our program, as soon as we plug it into the opportunity cost calculator, they get a readout instantly. Here's their readout. Their interest savings are going to be at least $179,649. That's interest they will not have to pay. Okay. And because of that, they'll be able to pay off all of this debt with their income. All right. They'll be able to pay off all this debt with their income in 7.7 years. 7.7 years. Well, they must be making a lot of money. Okay. How can we see this? So if you click on that link above my head there, Martina says, Dave Ramsey's worst financial advice. That will take you. You can copy that link and go to YouTube. But if you want to stay on Clubhouse, go get you can get another phone, your tablet, or your laptop, and go to YouTube and search for P.I.L.L method, 2 words, P-I-L-L method. All right. And I can also put the link. All right. Let's see. Let me see if I can copy the link for you. I could put that in the chat as well, or somebody else could do that for me. Okay. All right. So let's go ahead and pull this up. Uh-oh, I clicked the wrong link. Hold on. I don't want that. Here's what I want. Okay, there it is. And here is the link. All right, let's put that in the chat. There it is. Okay, so that's the link there. Okay, you can copy it and paste it. All right. So, or go to YouTube and search for P.I.L.L method so you can see what we have here. Okay. So John and Rebecca Jones, all right, they owe $227,000, and the program says that you'll be paid off in 7.7 years because we're following the program. Let's take a look at their budget. Okay. Now they have a monthly income that averages $5,091. That's it. $5,091. Their expenses for the month, including the debt payments, $3,760, $3,760.51. That's the average. It's going to be, it's going to be up and down. All right. So it's going to be variable, but on average, they have about $1,300 left over after all the bills are paid, and they set aside some money just to have a little bit of fun as well. They pay their bills, and they've set aside some money each month to have a little bit of fun. Here's what we believe at the P.I.L.L method. You shouldn't have to cut yourself back on living a nice lifestyle just to get out of debt because somebody else said, you can't, while you're in debt, you can't go anywhere. You can't do anything. You have to drive a 30-year-old car. You have to cut up your credit cards. You have to sell pizzas at night. You have to eat beans and rice or ramen until you can get out of debt. No. You don't have to. Just manage. So we're going to show you how you can use this to manage and optimize your interest savings. So we don't just save some money with the P.I.L.L method opportunity cost calculator. We learn how to optimize interest savings, meaning every single penny, every single dime, nickel, quarter, every single dollar works as hard as it possibly can, eliminating the maximum amount of interest per dollar that you possibly can save. So in other words, if you could save $6 in interest for every dollar we place on principal, you wouldn't want to save $3 for every dollar, would you? And if you don't have a way to measure, how would you know the difference? How would you know the difference? So we have a way of measuring so that people can know the difference here. And this is our program to do it. So if we go to action plan, we can see not only when we're going to be out of debt, but I can change any one of these windows to show me this. If they started today, they would be out of debt on everything on July 27, 2032. That's 7.7 years from now. We can give you all of that information. Tell you the month, day, and year you could be debt-free, how many years it's going to take, and how much interest you're going to save. If I change another window, I can tell you exactly how much interest you are going to pay by showing you how much interest do you have remaining. So here's what the bank wants from these people: $79,649 plus $56,574. This is how much they are going to pay. This is how much they're not going to pay, $179,000 with their current budget. The same budget they used to qualify for these loans is the same budget they're going to use to eliminate these loans, not in 30 years, but in 7. What do you think about that? Okay. So here's what happens. So let me change some of this back to years to pay off. And I'm going to change this one over here to next debt transfer, meaning how does the program come up with the numbers to put on the debt? Okay. Here's what we're doing. When John gets paid, we're starting back in November. We're going to start back in November. When John gets paid $950, all right, that's direct deposited into his bank account. He just clicks on the program, clicks on that line, and clicks execute. That tells the program that he got paid $950, and that subtracts that, okay? That takes that off the action plan. But if we go to the accounts, we can see that they have an additional $950 in their virtual bank account. So if we take a look at the history, their history started out at $500. Now they have $1,450 because now they have an additional $950. So the virtual bank account must always match what they have in the bank so the program can know what to do. And how does the program know? You tell it. So every time you get paid, you just point and click. Every time you spend money, you just point and click. So the next thing they have to do, it says here, is that on the first of the month, they pay their mortgage. So they will click on this, tell the program, I'm taking money out of the bank account and I'm paying the mortgage, and their bank account at the bank is reduced by $1,199.10. We must reduce the virtual bank account in the program by the same amount. So the bank accounts are still matching. I hope that makes sense to everybody. All right. So now we pay the utilities. So we just point and click, pay the utilities. And guess what? On the 5th, Rebecca gets paid. So Rebecca will click on this, tell the program that Rebecca got paid her $700. That goes into the bank account. And there, look here. Do you see these little arrows here? It says here, suggested strategic accumulation. So we're transferring $100.90 out of the checking account into their savings account at the same banking institution. Let's say they bank at Chase. So we're going to take money out of their checking account at Chase and put it in their savings account. And it's just going to stay there. Okay. So what are we doing? We're saving up money to put on the debt in the right month, on the right day of the month. Not every single month do we put extra money on the debt. We just save it up until the right time. What is the right time? Our algorithms determine the right amount on the right debt, on the right day of the month, and the exact amount of money to the penny to put on the debt to maximize interest savings. So all the guesswork is gone. Do you know how much math it takes to figure all that out? Over 3 million different calculations have to be performed to come up with the right amount, the right day, the right loan, and when to put that money on the debt. My goodness, that's exactly what's happening. So we're putting that money away. We're going to pay the phone bill. We're going to pay, Rebecca gets another paycheck here. And now they have some more money in checking that they don't need for anything else. So we're going to put this additional $389.49 in the savings account, and they're going to pay for their groceries, and they're going to pay on their other loans and stuff. And they're going to, here's their unitemized budget for $1,300, which means they have some other bills to pay, but it also includes some fun money they can use just to have some fun. It's right there. Right. And when they paid everything and subtracted everything, then the program says, take that additional money that's left over, put it in savings. And then eventually, we're going to start because we start here in November. When we get to December 17, the program predicts that they will have $2,570 in their savings account that they can put on debt. Well, Don, if they're taking all the money out of their savings, how will they ever get ahead? When are we going to put some money towards their retirement account? Well, watch this. Let's go into and answer that question. Right now, we're telling the program that we want to keep $4,700 in the checking and their savings account at all times. And they can change that number anytime they want. But here's the great thing about this, folks. When you're putting money in your savings account, and when it comes time for the algorithm to figure out how much money to put on the debt out of the money that you already have, the program figures the least amount of money to take out, not the most, the least amount. You see, when you're leveraging something, that's what P.I.L.L stands for: prepayment of principal, isolating the principal amount, meaning how much do we take out? Leverage, how do we leverage? We put the least amount of energy into something to get maximum output. So when you're leveraging your money, I want to invest the least amount to make the most out of that money. So the program says, what is the least amount we can take out of the savings to put on the debt to kill the maximum amount of interest per dollar? So while we're doing that, the amount of savings continues to grow while we're putting money on debt, while we're killing interest and getting out of debt in 7.7 years. So what's happening? We're taking 30-year debt, paying it off in 7.7 years, we're killing interest. Okay. We're saving $179,000 in interest we don't have to pay. What else is happening? This. We're growing our savings all at the same time. Listen, this is a triple threat. We're growing our savings to put towards our retirement. We're killing interest that we never have to pay, so we can kind of figure that, so we can put that towards our retirement too. And we're getting out of debt in 7.7 years instead of 30. That is what's happening with this program. There's no other program like it in the world. So what is happening here is eventually the program says, let's take some money out of savings and let's put it on the debt. We're going to pay off the Visa all at one time. You see, in November, we didn't put any extra money on the debt. We paid minimum on the Visa, paid minimum on the car loan, paid minimum on the mortgage, and we're just putting money away. All right. And then in December, we put money away, and now we're going to take some of that money out of savings and pay off the Visa all at one time because it's sitting in the savings account. It's done. Why do I like paying off the credit card this way? Because money is fungible, meaning I could keep that money in my savings account and spend it from there if I need to. But if I put it on my credit card, all right, I could spend it from there just as well. But now I'm not paying any interest at all. I paid off the credit card, paying no interest. Okay, but I still have the money available to spend. Let me put it to you this way. I have $2,000 in my bank account. How much do I have available to spend? $2,000. I can, if I owe $2,000 on my credit card, I can take the $2,000 out of the bank, put it on my credit card. I still have $2,000 available to spend. But instead of making 1/10 of 1%, I'm not paying 10% interest on that money. I'm not paying 15% interest. Whatever your interest rate is on the credit card, you're not paying that. So if you keep cash in your bank where you can put it on the credit card, all right, you're actually saying whatever the credit card interest is, you're saying it's okay for me to pay 10% to keep money in the bank at less than 1%. So we're going to pay off that credit card, boom, and then we're going to take the rest of the money and put it on the mortgage. Let me show you something that no one else is doing. When we pay off that credit card like that, look how much interest we save, future interest we save over just paying minimum payments. Do you realize that saves us $1,850? We'll never have to pay Visa because we didn't make minimum payments to pay that off. That saves us $1,850 in interest we never have to pay. And when we put money on the mortgage, look at this. By putting $550.03 on the mortgage, that saves us $2,715 in interest we never have to pay. I need you to understand this, all right? Hey, Derek, what's going on, man? Derek, I didn't see you there. Come on up. Hey, Derek, do you want to meet us here on YouTube? All right, you want me to send you that link? I can. I most certainly can. All right. So let's do this.
Good morning, Mr. Dunn. How's it going, sir?
It's going well, sir. It's going extremely well. How are you doing?
I'm doing so good, man. I can't complain at all. Can't complain at all, man. I see you got a big crowd today doing your thing as usual.
Yes, man. Listen, we're telling them we want to make sure that everybody is in Orlando this Friday, not just to hear me, but to hear you as well. Do you want to stay here on Clubhouse? You want to come into YouTube? What do you want to do?
I can do either or, Dunn, however you prefer. So you're the boss. You just tell me where you want me and I'll jump there.
All right, brother. Let me go ahead and I'm going to get the link and I'm going to text it to you so you can meet us on YouTube. But everybody will still be able to hear you here on Clubhouse. So, but I want people to be able to see you as well. All right. So
okay.
Let me see here. Find you and text it to you. Derek. Right. All right, ladies and gentlemen.
John, do you have Telegram by any chance? If you can send it to me on Telegram, that'd be great.
I don't have.
I'm not super techy, and I already got my Telegram app up. So
I don't have Telegram. I'm sorry.
No worries at all.
Okay.
No worries.
All right. So we're going to take. I can.
Because I can text it to my Telegram once I get it.
Oh, okay. But can you email it to yourself as well?
I sure can.
All right. Let me do it that way. Okay. And then let your wife show you how you can take it out of your copy.
And unlucky me, she's not here.
She's not here today. Okay. I got you.
But for anybody that has no clue who I am, guys, while we figure all of this out, my name is Derek Forston. I'm the owner and operator of Forston Consultants. So that simply is just a company that goes all around the world, showing people how to get involved in real estate and shared housing. So we often tell people, if you love God, love people, and love real estate, we're the family to come and see. So January 31st, guys, which is literally done in 2 days, we got the best event that will be held in 2025. It's in Orlando, Florida. We put the information in the chat. Most of you guys already are here because you love and know Don, but we're also going to be speaking as well. I'm a great friend of Don and Miss Patricia's and his family and his team. So my family and I, we're going to be teaching you guys, how do you take a piece of real estate and become the beacon of light in your community when it comes to affordable housing? So again, I'm no genius. I'm nothing super special. God just blowed on a dream that I had many years ago to help people, but also be involved in real estate. And most of you all are probably just like that, right? So again, if you love God, love people, and love real estate, we show you guys how to mesh it all together. And we trademark the phrase independent living facility. And that just simply means an environment where adults are able to live and thrive without the need for staff and or medical oversight. So again, if you've always dreamed of kind of starting your own housing program or getting into real estate, but you kind of didn't know how, that's what we do. And we teach people the easiest method, which is what I think, to get into real estate, which is that shared housing model where I can take a 4-bed, 2-bath home and take 8 people from homeless to hopeful. And again, we call that a shared living environment. And Don, I'm just super excited, man, that you and your team are allowing me and my team to come and share this good news with everybody. So I appreciate you, big bro.
Listen, we're going to be there. So while you're doing that, Derek, I'm going to go ahead and tell people how they can get get their own savings and earnings report and how they can take part in the P.I.L.L method while you're coming over. I just text the information to you, and
Okay.
and then we're going to also hear from E.T. the hip hop preacher and how he paid off his mortgage early with the P.I.L.L method. So folks, if you want to know more about this while Derek is coming over, all right. So what you want to do is go to ice10k.com, ICE, the number 10, the letter K.com. All right. And scroll down below. You'll see his picture here. That's Eric Thomas, E.T., the hip hop preacher. All right. He's right as we have no more mortgage. All right. And right underneath his picture, and click on Get a Savings and Earnings Report and start filling that information out. It's free. Don't waste another dollar paying off the wrong debt. Get your free savings and earnings report. Go to ice10k.com, click on Get a Savings and Earnings Report. It's free. You can know the month, day, and year you could be debt-free on your debt and how much time you can save. It is amazing how you could do that. All right? So go ahead and get that for me, okay? All right. So listen, I see you, Derek. I see you. Let's add Derek to the stage here. So we're going to change this over. All right, Derek, let me change this over. And boom, there we are. All right. That's not what I want to change.
I need to cut that echo out too, because something's echoing on my end. So let me figure that out.
Okay. So wherever you have me on YouTube, on Facebook, on Clubhouse, you need to turn that device down. Okay. All right. There you go.
I'm gonna come out of Clubhouse and see if that also helps me.
Okay. Well, yeah. If you come out of Clubhouse, that will definitely help. All right, ladies and gentlemen. So Derek, I'm going to go ahead and play this video from Eric Thomas while we're doing that. And then we'll jump into how we are going to pull everything together on how people can save money and invest money. They can also make money by helping people. So let me go ahead and pull up that video from E.T., the hip hop preacher, and let's hear from him. All right. And I'll get a drink of water in the meantime.
Listen to me, y'all. But one of his mentees took us through one of their programs, and I paid off my mortgage. But guess what happened? My marriage went to a whole nother level. And you know why? Because my wife is a security freak. And even when I blew up, my wife would be like, oh, you blew up, but how long is you gonna keep making this kind of money? I was like, I don't know, forever. She's like, you sure? Because I'm gonna keep my license as a nurse just in case you don't. So when I paid the house off, my boy was like, you ain't gotta do that, you can do this. But when I paid the house off using that program, it took the stress level all the way down from my wife because we no longer had a mortgage. Does that make sense? That thing that was coming every month, that was getting on her nerves, we didn't have that no more. And so she was at rest.
All right, folks, ice10k.com, ice10k.com, and you can get the information you're looking for. Derek.
All right, Don, let me know if you can hear me loud and clear.
Loud and clear. All right, perfect. Folks, can on over here on Clubhouse, can you hear Derek loud and clear? Give us a yes.
Let me know if you guys can hear me loud and clear.
Yeah, give us a thumbs up or a yes or a no or something if you can hear Derek. Okay, so Derek, tomorrow on Thursday, people are going to hear for the very first time how we have been taken advantage of. All right, on this amortization schedule, it's not being taught anywhere. It's not taught at any level of financial education. Real estate agents don't know it. Dave Ramsey, if he does know it, he ain't teaching it. Neither is Susie Orman. We went over 3 critical pieces of information that Dave Ramsey teaches that we don't teach, all right, and that we will never teach, okay? And we prove that to everyone. The other thing is, Derek, people aren't getting good financial information on how to borrow money at a discount and why that is. We're going to go through the whole history while we're there. And not only that, but talk to us about real estate, getting into real estate, and why is real estate a good investment, and why is your model a great model for real estate. Let's talk about that today.
Absolutely. So we do a form of real estate that we refer to as shared housing or co-living or communal living. People have a lot of different names for it, but me and my family actually trademarked the phrase independent living facility. And that's just a fancy way to say that we take a 4-bed, 2-bath home and we take people from homeless to hopeful in what we call, again, a shared living environment. So in those 4 rooms, most of the time done, that's going to be 2 people per room, right? Where they have a roommate. Mm-hmm. But there's also a model where we can take that 4-bed, 2-bath home and only house 4 people to where everybody has their own private room. It's just that the population that I serve, done, most of them can't afford a room by themselves. So that buddy system often works for everybody. So again, this is a form of real estate that has the love of God wrapped up in it. And that's what's pretty cool. We also call this PDR, purpose-driven real estate. So this is not Airbnb. This is not some short-term rental. This actually has the love of God mixed into it, because most of the people that we serve, Don, they're on the fringes of life, whether that may be mental health, mental illness, physical health, or just quite frankly, just can't afford their own apartment or their own house. So I used to be a social worker many years ago and saw a lot of bad conditions when it came to housing. And I just said simply, why not me? Why not be the change that my city is looking for and begging for? So again, over the years, man, I left my job in 2019 to do this full time. And I used to be a social worker, case manager, all of that stuff. But again, when I saw the opportunity to get into a form of real estate that also had the love of God and the love for people all mixed in it, to me, Don, that was an absolute no-brainer. So that's why we think this is one of the best ways to get into real estate. The arbitrage method, renting or leasing the property to do it, but also shared housing, because it's very similar, Don, to a multifamily. So instead of me going to buy a 4-unit or an 8-unit building, I can go and rent a 4-bed, 2-bath home and still put 8 people in it. And this is what we call taking people from homeless to hopeful.
So what you're doing, Derek, is you're taking people off the street and putting them in a shared living environment that they still have a kitchen to work in, right?
Absolutely.
They're still they have nice, clean bathrooms.
Absolutely.
Instead of living outside. And I've been to one of your houses, and I'm telling you, you're not only putting them in a safe environment, but a clean environment. Why is that important to you, putting them in a clean environment?
Because my beginnings, Don, I saw a lady that was doing this, and literally, I'll just admit, she was living my dream. Like, I always wanted to help people, always wanted to be involved in real estate. And I saw a lady making $41,000 a month doing this, but she was housing people in rats and roaches. She was the opposite of kind of what we stand for, meaning being clean and safe. So that's my whole drive with this, Don. It's got to be clean. It's got to be affordable, and it's got to be nice. You want to be proud that your grandmother lives here, or your brother or your sister or your mom. So it's got to be clean, because the roots of where I saw it come from, I saw somebody mistreating people in rats and roaches and not so clean environments. And Don, I'll admit, she was still making 41 grand a month.
Wow.
So when God allowed me to get into it, I said, God, if you let me get into this, I'll change the way homeless people are being viewed, and we'll change the way they live in. And I'll go all over the world teaching it.
Derek, I got somebody on Clubhouse, Yolanda Tynes. Yolanda, are you able to come and speak to us? Because you're putting some comments in here. Yolanda, I'm not seeing you. Where did you go? Okay. She says she's at work. All right. So Derek, talk to Yolanda. She's at work right now, but talk to her. She says this is a goal of hers. This is something that she would like to do.
Okay.
How can you help her do this?
Very easily. Now, one quick way is come see us Friday. Don and I are spilling the beans Friday in Orlando, Florida, January 31st at the Pillars of Prosperity Conference. But if that's too soon for you and you just met me, we have a webinar that introduces everybody to what this is. And I'll put that in the chat. But I'm also all over the internet, YouTube, Instagram, Facebook. So Forston Consultants, and I'll put that in the chat. That's who I am. My name is Derek Forston. So if I don't think let me see, this comment failed to post. So maybe I can't post it in the chat.
Okay.
But Don, if you can put up on the screen, Forston Consultants,
Okay.
that's who I am. My name is Derek Forston. And we have a quick way for people to actually get our webinar. If you just text the phrase more info. So just type MOREINFO to the phone number 407-326-0086. And I'll repeat that. That'll give you our webinar. But after you watch the webinar, my team's going to see it. And then they're going to book a call with you and I so that we can talk. And this is a lot of people's dream. And that's why Don and I always merge it together. Because if you learn what Don is teaching you and you involve what we do and let us guide you in the real estate part, that's like fireworks, man. And it'll change your whole life. It'll change your city, your community, your church. Like everything that you're involved in around you will change because of what this is. Because it involves, again, the love of God, the love for people, patience, and the love for real estate.
Now Yolanda is an RN. So does she need to have her RN license to help take care of these people?
She does not. So this does not require a license.
Wait
she
a
don't have to
second.
be an RN, LPN, or CNA.
What?
Yep.
You don't need a license to do what you do.
Not at all. She's just fortunate because, again, the people that we serve, Don, they're independent. So I always jokingly say this, but I mean it with every fiber of my being. The people that we serve can cook their own bologna sandwich.
Okay.
The people that we serve can take their own medications. The people that we serve can provide their own transportation. And again, if they're able to do all of that done, what do they need me for? To put the roof over their head and to keep the lights and the water on. So your job, young lady, is to create an environment for adults that are able to live and thrive without the need for staff and or medical oversight. So definitely follow us at Forston Consultants. We're live every Monday, Tuesday, and Saturday on YouTube. Go ahead and subscribe to that channel. But Don is my big brother. He's my uncle. He's all of that. So Don and I always merge together. So a lot of times where you find Don, you're going to find my information. In fact, a lot of people that Don consults, and this is why we so appreciate Don, and a lot of y'all don't even know this, Don introduces a lot of people to what we do, just like he's doing now. Yolanda, you didn't know me before 3 minutes ago because you're on Don's show. Now, Yolanda, if I'm lying about that, you tell me in the chat. But I'm pretty sure the only way most of y'all or some of y'all are meeting me right now is because you're in Don's space. And this is what he does. So when he's doing his consultation of the P.I.L.L method, a lot of times he's also exploring, what do you want to do in life? What is your next goal when we help you save and create all of this extra money? What do you want to do with it? And a lot of times people have purpose on their heart, and Don leads them to us. Because if you got purpose on your heart and you love God and love people, we're going to introduce you to shared housing. Because again, there is nothing different from me and that lady that I saw making $41,000 a month. Y'all, can you imagine making 41 grand every 30 days of your life? And y'all, this lady was doing it, but she was doing it in rats and roaches. And when I saw the rats and the roaches and the filth and the grime and people were living here, I said, God, you are no respecter of person. You love this lady just like you love me. But God, if you let me get in it, God, I'll change the way people are being housed. I'll change the conditions of this. I'll change the way homeless people are being viewed. Now today, Don, the police department, the local hospital, the city, the commissioners, they all depend on this model because I'm now the answer to affordable housing in my city. And what we specialize in is teaching other people so that Yolanda now can be the beacon of light in her city where she lives at doing this same model. So we teach this all over the place. Our coaching is in 37 states, and we have over 400 ILFs that we now oversee. So we're excited about that.
Wow, Derek. Listen, man. So you were a social worker, and you were part of what you did at the time was finding people housing.
Correct. That was my job for 9 years, Don.
And you were sending people to her, not knowing what kind of conditions they were living in.
That's it, Don.
What possessed you to go take a look, to say, listen, let me go take.
Want to change my life.
Oh, you wanted to see what she was doing.
I also wanted to change my life, though. Don, I was a poor social worker, bro, barely making ends meet. I'm very transparent. If you guys can't tell, I put y'all all in my business. Y'all, I was barely being able to feed my family. And God showed me my dream, Don, through somebody else that was doing what I always wanted to do, Don. But this lady was just doing it the wrong way. And that's why I just tell people, man, I'm not so great. I'm not that special. God just took this dream, and now everything that we put our hands on turns to gold because of this initial business. Again, guys, I'm no pastor. I'm no priest. I'm no bishop. But the Bible says the poor and needy will always be among us. So, Don, we have a bunch of people that need this model because they can't afford to go out and buy an apartment or get their own house. They can't pass a background check. They don't have 3 times the monthly income to move into a place usually. So this model serves as the middleman between the streets, sleeping behind a dumpster, and coming to live with me in my shared housing. And again, Don, we was just excited when we were able to teach it to other people. And because people heard it from me, you guys can probably hear it in my voice. I get excited when I get a chance to talk about it and share it, simply because to me, I always say this, Don, it's like a slap in the face to everybody that ever tried to hide this from me. And now I go all over Clubhouse, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok. I'm all over the place talking about this at least 4, 5, 6 days a week, talking about this shared housing model.
So, Derek, listen, you say you're a poor social worker making 28 grand a year.
Yes, sir.
How in the world did you get into real estate to help anybody get into housing, and you could barely pay your bills?
Exactly. Don, my story is that I robbed Peter to pay Paul. I borrowed money to rent my first house. Most of y'all think you got to go and buy property. Prime example, if you go to my Instagram and Facebook page right now, you'll see properties that we're buying, that we're flipping. We're into all of that now. But 95% of people we teach this to, Don, they start just like me, big bro. Renting, leasing. So the rental arbitrage method is just a fancy way to say, hey, sir, can I rent your property to do what I do in here? Guys, some of y'all call that a master lease. And I'm giving y'all a lot of game right now. Master lease, subletting, whatever you want to call it, Don. That means I'm getting permission from Don to rent his house. And when Don rents that house to me, Don, I'm building relationships with social workers, case managers, social service providers, anybody that has anything to do with discharging people from a hospital. And I want to be the go-to guy. Essentially, Don, I'm looking for the Derek, the guy that I was 9 years ago. Don, I did this job for 9 years, big bro. Praying God to change my life. Praying God to God, I want to get in real estate. God, I want to do well financially. Dummy me, Don. God gave me everything I asked him for, bro. I prayed to get involved in real estate. He showed me a lady mistreating people through real estate.
Wow.
I prayed to God I said, God, I want to help people. He used my wife to trick me to go to college and get a degree in human services. Don, that was not my plan. My wife tricked me to go to college. I end up with this degree. I said, well, what I'm going to do now? And I got this social work job. And that's what showed me my whole vision, Don, was getting that job and seeing that lady making $41,000. Put a number 7 in the chat. Let's be active for one time. Put a number 7 in the chat. If you made $41,000 a month, would that change your life just a little bit? Now, if that money's too small for you, excuse my ignorance. But for most people I talk to, Don, 41 grand a month to change their life, big bro. And that's my job, that we'd like to go around teaching it, because I like to replace people's yearly salary and they can make it monthly now. That's what we do. Doing God's will. And that's the cheat code to it all.
So, Derek, you're saying if you can do it wrong, you can certainly do it right.
You got to be able to do it right, Don. If you did it wrong and made 41 grand a month, and I'll admit, God wasn't proud of that, but it didn't stop the income. Everybody need a place to live, ladies and gentlemen. I don't care where you live at, what city you live in, what state, it's expensive. But so when you open this shared housing that we do, Lord of mercy. And then if you buy the property and then you start, I'll use the word operating or doing the P.I.L.L method, Guys, again, man, Don is going to teach you guys how to involve the P.I.L.L method when you start buying this property. Because just like I told Don, yes, most of us would get into this by renting or leasing. But guys, that is not the goal. The goal is for you to eventually buy property. And now when you mix this in with what Don does with the P.I.L.L method, Miss Suzanne, you got fireworks now. You just created your own 4th of July and didn't have to buy the fireworks. You just need the P.I.L.L method and the Forston Consultants model of this independent living. That's it, guys. Do God's will, help people, be respected by the community, and make enough money to feed your family. And that's what we live by.
So now we're looking at making enough money. We can end up buying the house and then cut our interest costs by 75%, learning how to borrow money at a discount. Now, not only are we providing housing, growing our net worth, but we're borrowing money cheaply so that we can invest more in more houses to help more people.
Yep.
And make more money to help our family even more.
Make impact and income. That's what we live by, Don. How can we make an impact, but also make the income? It's hard to do God's will if you broke.
Yeah.
Guys, I'm telling y'all, I'm no pastor, I'm no bishop, but I do love God. I love people, and I'm crazy about real estate. And God has just showed us how to merge them all together to do his will. Watch this, because I'm going to say this real slow because I talk fast and sometimes I stutter. But can you guys imagine having a business where the financial blessing of God was already built into it? Lord have mercy. I'm going to say that one more time because somebody's going to miss that. Can you imagine having a business or a job to where the financial blessing of God was already built into it? I told you guys, not because Derek said it, not because I think that this is the new hype to use real estate with. The Bible says the poor and needy will always be among us. And watch this. The Bible also says that when you do unto the least of thee, God said it's like you're doing him a favor. Guys, if you want to be on anybody's books, meaning that somebody owe you a favor, how about being on God's books just by doing his will? And that's why I say, imagine doing God's will, helping people, being respected by the community while you're doing it, but also make enough money to feed your family. And that's what we live by.
Wow, Derek. So now I guess what I'm trying to understand this, and the more I hear you, the more I get it. Even though you started the business, you got a shared housing situation, whether it's like 4-bed, 2-bath, all right, 2 beds per room, and now you didn't have to put out an ad to try to find homeless people to come and live in your facility. You partner with people who are going to steer people to you. Talk to us about who you're partnering with and how you set up those partnerships.
So social workers and case managers, Don, are a big part of what we do. Also, anybody that's in the social service setting. We also partner with the local homeless shelter. But Don, I'll admit, man, most people find us on social media. Because if you ain't found out by now, and most of y'all that are listening, I got a big mouth. And I run this big mouth everywhere. And a big part of my coaching is that how dare you fry the best fried chicken and nobody know about it? So if you fry the best fried chicken, but you're not advertising it on social media, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, why you think Don is all over the internet on every forum that there is? He streams on every forum possible to further get the word out about his good news of the P.I.L.L method. So Don, with me, that's no different. Social media is probably one of the biggest tools that we use to get the word out about who we are, that we take people from homeless to hopeful, and we do it in a shared living environment. But Don, you got to also remember, big bro, I used to be the social worker. So I'm the guy that you're really looking for in your city. I was a social worker, discharge planner, case manager. All those terms kind of go together synonymously, right? They mix in together. That just means that when somebody comes to a hospital or a social service setting, your job is to discharge them to housing or resources. Don, I did this for 9 years, y'all.
Wow.
Begging God to get into it. And again, dummy me, everything I asked God for, he gave it to me. I just didn't realize it until one day I woke up And here we are 8-9 years later, and now we teach it all over the world. And this does not require a license, and you don't have to own the property.
So so what you're saying is you go to people who are desperately trying to find their clients housing.
That's it.
And you're saying, I got one house, I got two houses, I got three houses, whatever. I got the house. And they're saying, oh my gosh, I don't have to look as hard because Derek, do they have you on speed dial?
Don, what we call it in our culture, Don, I'm a preferred vendor. You guys ever heard of that saying?
What's that?
That means that I'm the go-to, Don. That means that in every hospital in my city, every social work case manager list in my city, I'm at the top. Because of what we provide, the affordability, and because I'm all over the internet talking about it every day.
All right, so, well, then I got a question for you. You got a vacancy. Okay. So one of the tenants moves out. Okay. One of the people that you're helping, they move out.
Okay.
How long does that bed stay vacant?
Not very long, because the need is like a line from your house, Don, to my house. But I will admit, Don, everybody that needs housing may not fit the criteria to move in my place. Somebody posted a question in the chat earlier about that. So, Don, there's a criteria and an assessment that we do, Miss Patricia, before we move in anybody. Miss Patricia, I see you down there in the chat, and that's exactly what you asked. There is absolutely a process. Case manager calls me or Jess, my assistant, because many years ago, it was me. Now today, Don, we use virtual assistants for a lot of this stuff. So a VA answers that phone, does the assessment, runs it by me real quick, and then we make a decision like immediately, can we move that guy in? And that's why also we're loved, because our process is fast, Don. If you call a traditional group home or an ALF, everybody's got to get permission from somebody else to make a decision. Don, we're the decision makers. So by the time we run the information back to our team and me, we can make a decision in 15 minutes whether we're going to house Michael Jones or not. Make sense? So we're very streamlined in the process as well. And the assessment is literally what makes us successful. Because in the beginning, Miss Patricia, when somebody would call my phone for placement, I just moved them in. I moved in anybody that would call my phone. That was the dumbest mistake I ever made. You want a clown show real fast? Move in the wrong people. Guys, this is cake work if you move in the right people. It's like a crock pot. Set it and forget it. You get the wrong clients, it's like cooking on a hot skillet with oil in it and the temperature's on high. Man, you'll burn the whole place down. You got to stand right in front of it. You got to watch it all the time with the wrong clients. With the right clients, man, you could throw the steak, potatoes, vegetables in it and walk away for 8 hours and come back and everything's good to go. That's what this ILF life is. If you do it the right way, get the right coaching, and ultimately the right clients or avatar, as some of y'all call them.
Wow. So I've got Suzanne here. She's an RN. All right. She says she's looking to do something like this, and she's been praying about it. And she says, I was led here. How can we connect? How can we connect?
Good stuff. So do me a favor, Miss Suzanne. I put it in the chat on Clubhouse, but text the phrase more info. Everybody do this. Text MOREINFO, and it's to the phone number 407-326-0086. My whole system is automated. So as soon as you text that, you're going to get our webinar immediately. At some point today with you and your family, I would watch that webinar. Again, my team is going to see the analytics that you've watched it. And as long as you watch 50% of it, they're going to send you a link to talk to me. Because then we're going to talk about how can we get you started where you live at. Our coaching right now is in 37 states. I got a goal to get this in all 50 states. But for right now, we're in 37 states, and I oversee over 400 ILFs right now today from quitting my job in 2019.
So, Derek, I'm going to write this down. Let's go. I got two people wanted you to repeat that. So it's
absolutely
text the word
more info. Yep. Text more info.
More info. MORE info.
Yep. To the phone number 407
407
326
326
0086. And I'll repeat it again because I
0086.
love repeating stuff and I don't mind it. So
And
again,
I'll
follow us
type
at
it in.
Forston Consultants on Instagram, Facebook, but also become my friend at Derek Forston on Facebook. Be nosy because we post a lot of stuff. I want you guys to be my friend and just come be nosy. Just go through all of our stuff, look at what we're doing, but most importantly, envision yourself doing it because our love is to teach it to you. I'm already in it. My love is, as most of y'all can hear it right now, I love to teach it. And my goal is to watch people quit or resign from their job. Now, I'd rather the word resign, but guys, that's my pleasure that when people get in this, especially under our coaching, and if you can walk away from your job, that's the ultimate like applause that you can ever give me is when you leave that job. Now, if you are somebody that's got a pretty laid back job, it's pretty easy, they don't get on your nerves, then you probably need to keep your job and be like my brother used to do it. My brother nickname was Double Up, and he believed in keeping both of them. Y'all, the first opportunity I got to leave my job, I was gone. So if you anything like me, I want to see you guys also leave your job and do this full time and be the beacon of light again in your community, housing the homeless and displaced.
Wow, Derek, I need to have you in here sooner because I mean, I got people talking in the chat. I mean, I got a lot of people who are responding to your information. So listen, let me see here. We got Patricia here.
And Don, you better use your affiliate link because if they're going to be asking and coming through you, you know how we do. So we pay for affiliates. When you guys spread the word out, we pay y'all for that. I don't just say, thank you, Don. I send a check. So we send cash money when people refer and introduce people to what we do. Because when most new people hear what we do, they want to get in it. Especially if you love God, love people, and love real estate. It's a no-brainer.
Wow, Derek. So listen, I got to get an affiliate link then. So tell me how I can get that, because if I can get an affiliate link, other people can get it, right?
Absolutely. So they can just either email us or you just tell me, Don, I trust you enough. You just say, Derek, I sent over Miss Patricia Farsert. And if I'm saying her name wrong, I apologize. But I sent over Miss Patricia F, Derek. If she called you, she came from me. Don, I trust you. That's all I need. But you can go to our website at forstonconsultants.com and become an affiliate. Right? Or that same number that we gave out earlier, they can just text the word affiliate and we'll send it to them. Yeah.
Wow. Okay. All right. Well, I'm gonna do
that. She's a nurse, and we teach a lot of nurses, a lot of RNs, ARNPs, LPNs. But again, don't get it twisted, guys. Everything you've heard me talk about, this does not require a license. The only requirement is the love for God and the love for people. And if you got patience, that's also gonna help. Guys, remember, we're dealing with people that are on the fringes of life. So you got to have patience. This is not Airbnb. This is not an ALF, an assisted living facility. This is an ILF, an independent living facility where adults are able to live and thrive without the need for staff and or medical oversight. So make sure you guys join us on YouTube every Monday, Tuesday, and Saturday. And guys, I have over 700 videos on this topic. There is nobody that teaches this the way that I do, shared housing and real estate, and being the answer to what God is already asking us to do. And so is your city. Your city begging for this answer, right? And when I first got into this, Don, as you know, my city was like, Derek, you crazy. You can't do this here, Derek. Now the same city, they beg for it. So again, sometimes you got to knock the doors down until people understand what it is. And because I was a social worker, I was also able to explain it, right? So God just really blessed us, man. And now looking for all y'all, we've paved the way in 37 states. So I don't care where you live at, man. If you want to get into real estate, helping people and meshing the love of God all into one, that is exactly what you want to do. Okay.
Derek, I'm doing that. I'm putting the word affiliate in here.
I just got it because it came through on my phone from a 202 number.
Yep. Okay. Well, that wasn't me.
Gotcha.
No, that was somebody else. All right.
202 is not you, Don?
No. 256.
Well, thank you to whoever that was. But yeah, if you introduce somebody else, Miss 202 or Mr. 202, like we pay for that. We don't just say, well, thank you for sending that family to us. And we pay for a referral. If somebody don't know about me and you introduce them and they take our coaching, we pay you for that. So we have one-on-one coaching. We got group coaching. We got all kinds of stuff to get into what we do. But again, just like I promised God 9 years ago, I said, God, if you let me get into this, and you let me leave my job, God, I'll go all over the world teaching it, and I'll never take any credit.
I just sent mine in, Mr. Derek.
Now yours came with your name in because you're in our system. So Don Daniel got you. The other one just said 202. So until they watch that webinar, I won't even know their name. So again, if you want to watch that webinar, man, make sure you text the phrase more info. And if we can put a lower third on that, more info, because Don, anybody that comes from your channel, and guys, please do this. If you guys come from Don's channel, that's just like he referred you. So please tell me that if you join me, Derek, I was on Don's channel that day when you was running your big mouth, and that's how I heard you, because Don, I'll pay you from that. So even if I'm on your platform, Don, and somebody hears me and joins us, bro, you get a check for that. Yeah, we don't play like that. Like, we like to show our appreciation. So again, text the phrase, and a lot of y'all are doing it because I can see it. So thank y'all. Again, when you watch that webinar, I normally tell people within 4 minutes of watching that webinar, you're going to know if this is something that God has called you to. Because watch this. I done gave y'all probably 5 or 6 of my phrases today because I got a lot of them. But here's another one. Procrastination is the arrogant assumption that God will give you more time for something he's already told you to do. Right. I'm going to repeat that. Procrastination is the arrogant assumption that God will give you more time for something he's already told you to do. So guys, don't procrastinate. God has told most of y'all to get into something like this. You're just like Miss Yolanda earlier that said, Derek, I've always wanted to do this. And here you go, bam, thrown right in my face. Because again, Yolanda didn't know me before coming to Don's channel. So if Yolanda gets this coaching done, you get credit for that. Ooh, Yolanda never knows me without the P.I.L.L Method International being live this morning. And guys, that's why you gotta be live. That's why you gotta come on and promote and talk about what you do. Because if I teach you this thing we're talking about, but you never talk about it, how will case managers find you? How will social workers know to call you as the preferred vendor for housing? And I'll land my plane. They're done. Back on you, man.
Wow. Listen, I'm looking for other questions here, Derek. And information again. So we're going to have Derek is going to be there. Derek's wife Shay is going to be speaking with him. They're going to be doing a whole hour on this right after
and
lunch.
My wife does what I do, y'all, from the nonprofit standpoint. So all you nonprofit people that love that, Derek, can do it from a nonprofit. That's what my wife does. Wow. So when God blessed me to pull Shay from corporate America, that's my wife, to help me. She said, well, Derek, what am I going to do? I said, well, Shay, you're going to house these women now because I'm done with that part. So my wife started and launched the Angela Denise Foundation in memory of her mom. My wife handles all the women now, right? And gets grants and all of that stuff that I'm not privy to per se because I'm an LLC for profit. My wife is nonprofit. So again, I want to just say on the live stage, man, Don, thank you again for your stage. For allowing me to speak on your stage and your event. Guys, if you like what you just heard, can you imagine getting an hour of this? I'm just speaking from the dome today. Guys, Don is giving me a whole hour this Friday in Orlando, Florida at the Pillars of Prosperity Conference. We're also going to put that in the chat. So if you haven't got your ticket yet, I think Don extended this thing like an extra day or two. So they're still active right now that you can get a ticket. Come to Orlando. Get some sun, because probably where you live at is cold. This week, guys, it's in the 70s, and one day it's going to get it up to 81. Yes. So come to a fun place, enjoy yourself. And as I jokingly told all of my following, guess what, guys? January 1st through January 30th was a free trial, and it doesn't count. February 1st, ladies and gentlemen, is the first of the year. So Don is inviting y'all January 31st to kick off your new year in February. You heard it from Derek. Watch this, y'all, one more time. It's free and it's on me. January 1st through the 30th is a free trial, and it doesn't count. Guys, the 31st is the first day entering in what we're going to call your new year to step into February 1. Don, how you like that? January 1 through 30 don't count, Don. It was a free trial.
Wow. So
everybody can start over on the 31st to walk into February.
Susan said, so will it be streamed? It will not be streamed. Okay.
I love it.
We want to do, now I do a lot of streaming. And so a lot of people want to talk to us live for some reason. There are people who want to come to a live event. So this will not be streamed at all. So we want to keep our, well, maybe at one point in time, we'll start doing, both a live and streaming at the same time, but this one will not be streamed.
This
so
one
anyway,
we wanted to keep it intimate.
Yeah. We want people
spoil
there.
the people that actually show up in person. But lucky for you all, because I see you guys asking in the chat, Don is taking this everywhere, y'all. And he's probably gonna drag me along, right? So if he drags me, I'm coming. But just know that what Don is doing, this is not the last one. He's already kind of stated that this is going to be a continual kind of a tour, if you will, city to city. And as we used to say, who's next? Because right now, Orlando, Florida, you are up. And Yolanda, you're asking where it is. Yolanda, it's steps away from Universal Studios. So if you know anything about Orlando, that's why we're telling people, man, come and enjoy yourself. Have fun, but also come and learn something that can change your life, your family, and also the city in which you live in. So again, and they're saying, Don, are you coming to South Carolina? Now, before Don answers that question, watch this, Don, and this may help Don answer that. I don't know what's going on in South Carolina and North Carolina, but we're getting a lot of following from there for the shared housing. And you guys haven't heard us talk about the mobile home parks yet in terms of what we do. South Carolina, for the lady that just mentioned that, I don't know if you know it, ma'am, but South Carolina is kind of known as the hub for mobile homes. And that's the newest thing that we're now doing with the shared housing. We're building relationships with mobile home parks to do what we do inside of the parks to now make it more affordable for people to even to buy it. So I'm going to just tell you right now, sister, South Carolina and North Carolina are already on our radar. And if Don this decides to go, I'm going to sneak in his suitcase because I'm coming too.
Okay. All right, folks. Well, I will be. We just booked a program. I'm on somebody else's program in March 20th to the 21st. It is a tech conference because what we do, our program is actually AI. All right, artificial intelligence that performs over 3.6 million calculations to figure out how much you should pay, what day to pay it on, which loan to attack to kill the maximum amount of interest per dollar. We are the cheapest way to borrow money ever. In fact, we make borrowing money so cheap, it's cheaper than paying cash. Okay.
Say that one more time for the people in the back.
We make borrowing money so cheap, it's cheaper than paying cash. What do you mean by that? Okay. What I mean is that once we do we figure out your effective interest rate, most of our people can borrow money the way that we do it. You would have to have an interest rate from a bank at 1% or less. Okay, you would have to have an interest rate from a bank at 1% or less. That's how little interest you will pay. And because of that, if you have your money in an investment that's making 6, 7, 10, 12%, okay, then it would actually cost you money to buy your property cash. So that's why I'm saying it's cheaper than paying cash, because you would have to remove your money from an investment to buy that house cash, and you don't have to anymore. You can borrow money cheaper than you can use than using your own cash. So listen, stop that. Let's do it right. Let's put these two ideas together. And not only that, but we have Perry Jeffries that's coming. And some of you have significant income already. Some of you may even be behind on putting money towards your retirement. Perry helps both sides of that. I don't have enough towards retirement. Perry can help you with that. Or I have significant resources. I don't know what to do with all this money. Perry can help you with that. He's going to be there helping you develop a plan so that not only can you retire on your money, he's going to show you how to replace your income with passive income for the rest of your life. There you go. Perry's going to be there. So I'm going to be speaking. Derek and his wife are going to be speaking. Perry Jeffries is going to be there. And all of this and for those who got their tickets already, okay, they got the tickets for $200, which includes lunch. Now, who does that? Okay.
Plated lunch too, right, Don? Not some
Plated
sandwich in a plastic bag, right?
No, a plated lunch. So when we do this thing, so what we're going to do, the next time we have this, wherever city we're having it, we're going to be taking good video and show you what you missed this time around so you won't miss it next time around. Is that right, Derek?
That's it.
That
is it. Don't miss it though, guys. Like that saying says, don't meet us there, beat us there. Guys, like to me again, like this is the start of a great year, and what better way to get into it by crushing debt, becoming financially free, right? But also learning something that in terms of real estate, of how you can also make some money, please God, and be the answer to affordable housing in your city. And again, guys, don't procrastinate because we've already talked about what procrastination means. And again, Don, thank you so much. I'm sure you got to go. I have to go too. Okay. I love you guys like a fat kid loves cake. And I hope to see you guys Friday. If not, if this is too fast and you just met me, just make sure you join us every Monday, Tuesday, and Saturday on our YouTube channel at Forston Consultants. And again, we put the information scrolling below. If you just text the phrase more info to that phone number scrolling below, that'll give you our introductory webinar and also a phone call with me. And again, Don, thank you so much, big bro, for allowing me to be here. I appreciate that.
Derek, thank you for showing up and giving people just a little taste of what they're going to be getting into. Somebody had something to say before Derek goes?
I was just saying hi to Derek.
Okay, that's Ken.
Who's that?
That's Ken.
Hey, what's going on, Ken? How you doing today, sir?
I'm all right. You probably don't remember my name used to be 500K. Used to come in my room all the time and bless us with that information with Wanda Mays.
Absolutely. I do remember that. I do, Ken. Good to see you, big bro. But yeah, man, we still doing the same thing and it don't stop. It just gets bigger and bigger. So I appreciate that.
All right, Derek, listen, tell your wife I said hi. I will be there Thursday night. We're going to, go over the pre-meeting meeting so that we can get everything up and running so we can give people an amazing time. An amazing time. I'm looking forward to this. Thanks you, Derek.
It's an experience. You are welcome. And ladies and gentlemen, it's going to be an experience. You guys be great. Don't wait to be great. And we'll see you next time. Appreciate it.
All right, folks, that's Derek. He's out. All right, folks, let me change my banner up here. And let's see here. We'll go change this up. And there we go. All right. So do I have any questions? Derek came in. He gave you a little bit of what's going to be happening. This is going to be the first of its kind. This is going on the road, the Pillars of Prosperity Conference all over the country. This is the very first one. And I'm looking to come to a city near you. If you are looking for a speaker, if you're looking for an event in your area, contact me at ice10k.com, ice10k.com. Contact me there and tell us that we'd like for you to come to our city, and you can work with our planning committee on bringing the Pillars of Prosperity to your city. Because see, you know the venues there better than we do. So we're looking for other cities to come to. If this is something you would like to do, and guess what? Once we put this all together, when we start selling tickets in your area, it will be under your affiliate link and you'll get paid even though you're not officially on the team, but because you helped us plan it, you will get an income from that event. It's going to be fantastic the way that we're going to partner with other people in other cities to get this done. So let me check and see if there are any other questions about how we're doing and what we're doing. All right. I think we got Suzanne taken care of. All right. Okay. 6 million. calculations. Okay, so March 2021. Yeah, we're going to be at a tech conference. And let me see if I can get a little bit about that information. Information here. Where is that? Where's my, all right. And I will put that on the screen. Okay, here it is. So we shall put this up. All right, yeah, it's called Diversitech. Copy. All right, and I'm putting that in the chat. All right, this is the link to where I'm going to be. This is not my conference. This is somebody else's conference. Okay, so click on that, check that out. I don't know what day I'm speaking yet, but we will announce that at a later date. Let me put this in the chat here. All right, and online, so you guys can see that online as well. And we're sending that out to you. Uh-oh, it didn't paste. Let me try it again. Okay, copy. See if I can paste it this way. All right, and not working. So let me try it another way. We shall try it another way. We'll do it this way. That way you guys can see it. There it is. And we're putting that out online. There it is. Okay, that's the link to Diversitech. And because our program is the only fintech, financial technology that optimizes interest savings, we decided to go to these tech conferences around the country and start introducing our opportunity cost calculator to the tech community so that they can start sharing this information as well. All right, we're the only program like this in the entire world. If you want to know more about the P.I.L.L method, you definitely want to go to ice10k.com. And let's go ahead and put that on the screen. Okay, ice10k.com. And so that we can share that with you and get that information. So if you have additional questions, that's the link is ice, the number 10, the letter K.com. That is my digital business card that will take you to a lot of our information, Patricia. Okay? ice10k.com. ice10k.com. There we are. Boom. All right, so you guys have that. All right, so I have it on the screen. Let me go ahead and put that on the screen. All right, and this is what you'll see when you go there, and all of our information is there. You can become an affiliate of the P.I.L.L method, and we will work with you and show you how you can share the P.I.L.L method with others. You can get a savings and earnings report. Click on that and send in all your information to us. That way, you can know the month, day, and year you can be debt free. Okay? All right. So, Patricia, you're so welcome. Patricia says thank you. Let's put that on the screen. There you are. All right. So, listen, folks, what other questions do you have? Because I basically went over everything I wanted to share about those three pieces of advice. Where should you put 20% down? Yeah, don't do it. All right. Should you get a 15-year mortgage? Never. Don't even try it. Get a 30 and pay it off in 7 to 15. All right. We can show you how to do that. Or excuse me, or using cash as an emergency fund, or sinking funds. Have you ever heard the term sinking funds? SINKING, sinking funds. So not only are people putting away money, 3 to 6 months cash for expenses, they're putting away sinking funds, pots of cash or envelopes of cash. So there's a sinking fund for if my appliances go out, if my freezer goes out, or there's a sinking fund for car repairs. Just cash sitting around in all these places. Folks, I can't think of anything that is more irresponsible than having cash sitting around that the longer you keep it, the less it's worth. Have you heard of inflation? Okay. Inflation is eating up your cash in your sinking funds. So here's what I would do. Here's what we recommend. If you have cash sitting around, it should be in some sort of investment that is high yield. And we promote using credit cards for emergencies. Now, Don, why would you do that? Have you heard of an arbitrage method? It means this. If I can learn how to borrow money at around 1% by knowing how to manipulate an amortization schedule, and my cash is making 10, 12, 15%, then my money is working, making more money. And I have the cash available if I ever need to pay my credit card off immediately. So if something happens, I have the cash to pay it off. But if everything goes well, I can pay it off in the right amount of time, at the right time, and save maximum interest so that the interest I pay over here is a lot less than the interest I make over there. Listen, folks, that's the way to handle your money. You should have a system that shows you how to make money with your money and to borrow money at a severe discount so that you can attack your money situation from two sides. I hope that makes sense to you all. All right. So let's get this off the screen here. So listen, folks, I'm getting ready to get out of here early because I'm not seeing any more questions. Okay. So let me fix this. Not seeing any more questions. So if there are no more questions, we're going to get out early. Fernando says, what amount do you recommend to put as a down payment for buying a house? Okay. So Fernando, my recommendation is 0 down if you can afford it. Meaning, if you can afford the payment, put 0 down. And we have people on our team that can help you to get a 0 down payment mortgage. Okay, we just did a program on that not too long ago. All right, so if you want information on how to get a 0 down payment mortgage, then do that. Now, here's the other thing that you need to keep in mind. Make sure that whatever mortgage you're getting, you want to make sure that it fits well within your budget. You don't want to get something that's, 30, 35, more than 35% of your income that you're paying for housing. That would be the mortgage and taxes and insurance. Okay, so keep all of that in mind. Sometimes you have to put something down just so that you can keep, your payment within that range. Okay, so I hope that makes sense. All right, Patricia, what do you have here, Patricia? On a high yield account, this is 10 to 12% on a high yield account. I'm so intrigued. and glad I ran into this live. So that's great. So listen, you when you meet Perry, now I've done a couple of shows with Perry on investment. So when you go to YouTube and you search my videos, put in the word investment, and then you'll see the shows that I did with Perry and how you can get a hold of Perry Jeffries. And he can tell you how to maximize the use of your money while you're saving money on interest on your loans. Oh my gosh. You don't have to pay that kind of money, Patricia. You could do a lot. You could do a lot for yourself by not paying all that money in interest. Okay. So thank you very much for Patricia for what you said there. Let me put that on the screen right quick. All right. Let me see here. I'm checking for questions. Anybody want to raise their hand and come to the stage and talk to me? I love it when you guys talk, because then that means everybody online can hear you. All right. And we can have a conversation. And as long as there's a conversation, I can stay longer. All right. So let me see here. So Fernando says, great information. Thank you. You're welcome. Okay. Amazing room. That's what Gwen says. Thank you. She'll be in touch. Okay. Getting granddaughter ready for school. Joseph says, ICE, when I pay on my mortgage principal, it also gives me an option to pay on escrow principal. No. Should I pay on escrow as well? No. No, do not do that. Let's talk about that for a hot minute. I am so glad you asked that, Joseph. You have the opportunity to put money in your escrow account. Do you know what your escrow account is? This is what your escrow account is. It is a savings account that pays you absolutely no interest, and they keep your money so that they can pay your taxes and insurance for you. If you overpaid your escrow, then they send the money back to you at the end of the year with no interest. So why would anybody ever put more money in escrow? In fact, there are mortgages out there where we recommend that you opt out of escrow. Pay your own taxes, pay your own insurance on your own. And we'll show you how to leverage money to get that done so that you can actually save more money on your interest by using that money strategically that people are putting away for taxes and insurance. We'll show you how to use that cash while it's sitting in the bank to save money in interest on your mortgage. So if you can opt out of, that's what we're teaching our clients. We're going to go over that on Friday, how you can use that money that you have in escrow, how to use that money to save money and interest on your mortgage. And if you can, opt out of escrow so that you pay your taxes and insurance on your own. You don't need help for that. Now, there's some mortgages that require it. So I'm not a mortgage professional, but I believe FHA requires escrow. I could be wrong. I don't think so. But I preface that by saying I am not a mortgage loan originator, and I don't pretend to know all of the rules. So if you are a mortgage loan originator, then you're in the room or you're watching us online and you know about what, you have some information on what I just talked about. We would love to hear from you as well. Okay. So Joseph, I hope that answers your question. Let's see. Aging out sounds like, okay, there we go. All right. Mobile home community would be amazing. Oh yeah, Derek is now developing mobile homes and mobile home parks for this model. He's doing that as well. Let's see here. Okay, that is great. I think we've handled all the questions. I'm looking for any new questions. Okay. Any new people who want to come to the stage? Listen, take advantage now, because this is free. If you call the office, and you want to speak to me, now you have to pay for an hour of my time. So if you want to get some free information, now is the time to get it for free. Free 99 right now for anybody who wants to ask a question. Come to the stage here in Clubhouse or put it online. All right. I want to thank Jonathan Bing for putting together the mortgage syndicate. So, and he called me and says, Don, how would you like to take over Wednesdays and share the P.I.L.L method and financial literacy with our group here at the Mortgage Syndicate? And I want to thank you, Jonathan, for the opportunity. And so I need all of you right now, all right, to thank Jonathan for this room. So put it in the chat, put fire emojis, do whatever you can do. Let Jonathan know that you appreciate him developing this space so that we can share this information. Okay. So folks, it's coming up on 11:16 Eastern time, 10:16 Central time. So we're going to end about 45 minutes early because I don't have any questions to answer. I'm trying to give you opportunity to ask that question, but I do see the thanks, Jonathan, that's coming in for you. All right, folks, I'm going to be back here next week with a brand new, some brand new information. I'll let you know how things transpired in Orlando, how that situation came out, and how many people we were able to help. And we're looking right now for individuals to take this thing seriously. Okay. And this is what I mean by this. I'm looking straight into the camera here. If you have a mortgage, student loans or credit cards or car loans, if you have these types of loans and you're not using this information to cut your interest cost, let me tell you what I'm thinking, because I've run into this before. And while people were thinking about it and figuring out, is this something I want to do? If you have this mortgage, I'm going to put it on the screen right now. If you have a $400,000 mortgage at 7%, you signed this mortgage. And when you signed it, they told you that if you keep this loan for 30 years, all right, let me put this on the screen so you guys can see it. Putting on the screen so you can see it. All right, there we are. There it is. You signed a loan that says if you keep that money for 30 years, you're going to pay back a total of $558,000 in interest. If I tell you that by working with us, we can cut that by 75%, let me put a number on that. Okay, let me put a number on that. Okay. So we have 558,000. I'm just going to round it off. 558,000 times 75%. Okay. How would you like to save $418,000 you never have to pay the bank? That's putting a number on it. Saving $418,000 instead of paying $558,000. Listen to me. You signed this mortgage. You said it's okay to give the bank $558,000, but by working with us using your same budget, we're saying, how about saving for about $400,000 instead and not give that to the bank? Okay. How about sending them $158,000 in interest instead of $558,000 in interest? What is there to think about? What is there to ponder? You signed a mortgage that said pay $558,000. We're going to show you how to pay $158,000 instead. What? That's a no-brainer, ladies and gentlemen. And you can go to and get a savings and earnings report for free to find out where you rank in this. How much interest do you have to stop giving away? You're losing money right now. If you're paying loans, you're losing money right now. Stop losing money. Stop. Get a savings and earnings report right now for free to find out where you will be. Go to ice10k.com, ice10k.com, and get that. And if you still want to get to Orlando, there's still time. There's still time. And we're going to put that on the screen, popclive.com, so that you'll be able to get your ticket. Okay? Those two things. Come to Orlando. Get this information. Also, get a savings and earnings report if you're not going to be there. Get a savings and earnings report, ice10k.com. Click the link that says get a savings and earnings report. Get it for free. And if you see some benefit in that, then you can become one of our clients, and we'll show you how you can use the bank's money to pay for your lifetime program out of the interest savings. What can be better than that? So I want to thank everybody for being here today. I got to get out of here. We're getting ready to go to Orlando. I think I saw a question in here. Okay, that answers that. Let me see if I have another comment here. Oh, Patricia says, what is the best way to start creating good credit, personal or business credit? Which is better? Okay, well, you're asking it all depends question, Patricia. Okay, it all depends. What are you trying to do? What is it that you want to do? All right. If I'm in business, I want to use my business credit because it doesn't show up on my personal credit profile. Okay. So that it won't really get in the way of me doing anything on the personal side. So I like the business credit for business. I like personal credit for personal. And how do I start creating good credit? Okay. So now that information is going to be about the same for everybody, but I'm going to give you some information here. Let me see here, from a guy that is on our team. Okay, so let me, okay, I got Hannibal Collins here. And if you want more information on how to do that, you can book a call with Hannibal Collins. Patricia, I'm putting that in chat. Okay. All right. That's not working. So let me try it this way. All right. And you can book a quick meeting with him. And that is something that he will be able to work with you on, how to develop a great credit profile. Okay, there it is. Okay, so get with him, get with Hannibal Collins, and he will tell you how to develop a great credit profile. All right, let me put that in over here on, there we go. Putting there, okay. That is the link for Hannibal Collins, and he will help you to do that. Just put that over here for you guys here. All right. So, folks, Thank you, everybody, for being here today. I'm getting out of here. I think I've handled all the questions. That's it. Yeah, that's it. So, listen, thank you again, everybody here on Clubhouse, YouTube, Facebook, and LinkedIn. So it's been great. It was a great 12 weeks leading up to our conference. And we're going to start doing more live speaking engagements around the country. So Ken, did you want to hang out in here a little while? And
But I wanted to thank you for bringing valuable information and new information to us weekly. So shout out to you, Don.
All right, great. So I don't know if you and Jonathan wanted to take over. Since you are modded, you can you can take over the room. Anybody else wants to talk about any other subjects? All right, but our information is still here. If you need anything else, please don't hesitate to reach out to me. And let me do this. Let me do this also. I'm going to put in, so you don't have to look for on my digital business card, I'm going to leave you guys my business phone number, 256-886-1867. Okay. And that is for P.I.L.L method. Oops. Let me do that. Okay. There we are. Okay, 256-886-1867. And we're also going to put that online as well. So that is our business number. Give us a call, contact us online. You have several different ways. There is no excuse to keep paying 75% more interest than you need to. You can end that starting today. Stop losing money. All right. So let me go ahead and get ready to play our theme music. So we'll get out of here. We're gonna Ken, I'm gonna leave it up so that you guys can talk about whatever you guys want to talk about. Maybe Jonathan can come in and share a little bit of information as well. So
He said we close it after you. He might do one later.
Okay. All right. He'll do one later. So we'll just go ahead and close it out then. All right, folks. Thank you so very much. And we are out of here. Okay. See you next week, or maybe even this week in Orlando. Okay. See you later.